Chapter 756. The private plane to the capital landed at the airport. Then, several military SUVs drove out of the airport and went straight to the headquarters of Floors 101. At this time, it had only been 3 hours since Charlotte left the military base in the Tavang area. The sky outside the car window had already begun to brighten, and a touch of golden dawn appeared on the eastern horizon. That was a sign that the sun was about to rise into the sky, but no matter how strong the sun was, it could not dispel the haze in Charlotte's heart. Our people found 2 bodies 30 kilometers north of the town of Tavang. One black, one white. There are traces of an intense exchange of gunfire at the scene. Our intelligence analysts believe that the battle north of Tavang may have something to do with the people who were after you and Tang Yuyan. In a military SUV driving in the middle of the road, Long Bing broke the silence in the car. She was a woman of few words. Today, Charlotte had also become taciturn, so the two of them did not talk much, so the atmosphere in the car was a little dull. Charlotte was still looking at the sky outside the window in a daze. He did not seem to hear what Long Bing said to him. Long Bing's eyes showed a look of worry. She said with concern, "Don't worry, it's all over. This kind of thing will not happen a second time." Charlotte came back to his senses. He reached out and patted Long Bing's thigh. "I'm fine, don't worry about me. By the way, you said that 2 bodies were found. Where were they sent?" "Their bodies will be transported to the capital, and then a forensic doctor will conduct an autopsy. After finding out their identities, they will be dealt with further," Long Bing said. Charlotte really wanted to see Bagoo and Marcus, but when he thought of the trouble that would bring him, he had to dispel the idea. The dead were already gone, and seeing them was just a way to cherish the memory. The existence of the Zodiac Squad was far from being made public. Before that, he could not reveal his relationship with the Zodiac Squad. "I'll let Dad handle this for me. Bagoo and Marcus are like his children. He'll take care of Bagoo and Marcus' funeral matters," Xia Lei thought to himself. "Is Tang Yuyan okay?" Long Bing suddenly asked. "It's okay. She's just slightly injured," Charlotte said. "Why didn't you go in to see her at the military base?" "I don't want to appear before her when she doesn't want to see me." "Huh." Charlotte was a little surprised. "It can't be. You have a good relationship with her. I can see that although the two of you often quarrel, you still care about each other very much." Long Bing smiled. "I know her better than you do. At that time, it was just you and her world. Her parents were there too. In her eyes, and in her parents' eyes, it's just a family gathering. Why should I go?" Charlotte was embarrassed. He tried to change the subject. "Gu Qian is dead. You already told me on the plane." Is that so?" "I know you're good to me, but Long Bing sighed softly. "But I can't give you what a man wants." "What?" "Family, child. If you want to get married, Tang Yuyan is actually not bad." Charlotte was speechless. The atmosphere in the car became awkward and silent again. She was also a woman. Why was she not interested in what other women wanted? Xia Lei understood Long Bing very well, but he couldn't understand this point no matter how hard he tried. When they arrived at the headquarters of Innings 101, Charlotte followed Long Bing to Sherboran's office. In addition to Sherboran, Liang Xiao and Tang Buchuan were also there. "Are you okay?" Liang Xiao greeted Charlotte as soon as she saw him. Charlotte nodded and smiled at her. "I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's talk later." Liang Xiao's voice was very low. "Okay?" Charlotte nodded again. "Okay, you can talk later." Sherboran interrupted the conversation between the two. "Charlotte, I called you back in such a hurry. In addition to protecting you, there's another thing. You have to cooperate with the investigation." "What is it?" Charlotte looked at Sherboran. He felt that Sherboran had not finished speaking. Sherboran hesitated for a moment before saying, "Who did you talk to about this operation?" Charlotte was slightly stunned. "Boss Sher, are you suspecting that someone around me leaked the secret and sold me out?" Boren said, "It's not impossible. Don't underestimate the enemy's ability to instigate a rebellion. Think about it carefully. Who did you mention it to? Or, did someone know that you went to Shi province?" Faces emerged in Charlotte's mind. His father, Xia Changhe, Sylvia, Anina, Xiaoshua's boyfriend, Lu Jingnan, and Qin Xiang all knew that he was going to Shi province, including his father, Xia Changhe, Sylvia, Anina, Xiaoshua's boyfriend, Lu Jingnan. But these people were his family and friends. They would not betray him at all. "Just give me a few names. Don't worry about the rest," Boren said. Charlotte was about to speak when he saw Liang Xiao winking at him. It was a secret signal. Charlotte didn't want anyone to investigate his family and friends. Seeing Liang Xiao winking at him, he didn't want to say anything. He said, "I didn't tell anyone." "Are you sure no one knows that you went to Shi province?" Charlotte shook his head. "No." Boren frowned. "You brat. Tang Yuyen's family is very willing to be investigated, but you won't even give them a name." Tang Buchuan also said, "Mr. Shi, if Charlotte says he didn't, then he definitely didn't. The problem is most likely not with Charlotte. Just investigate our Tang family." After saying that, Tang Buchuan smiled at Charlotte. Charlotte had to accept this favor, so he also smiled at Tang Buchuan. The two men's friendly gestures fell into the eyes of the two women, but their reactions were different. Long Bing was indifferent, while Liang Xiao slightly raised the corner of her mouth. Boren shook his head and smiled bitterly. "You little guys are working together to deceive me, aren't you? Fine, I'll let you fool me. Anyway, I don't think it's possible that Charlotte's people leaked the news. This is just a thorough investigation order from the top. I have to do what I should do in my position." Charlotte secretly said in his heart, "A thorough investigation order called me from Shi province to innings 101 and asked me to know the names of the people involved in this operation. Is this for my own good? Who's stirring up trouble inside?" "I received the report on your way back, Charlotte." Boren said, "In the battle last night, a total of 98 bodies were found near Dawang town and on that mountain. The Japanese, the Americans, the Indians, they are all here for you. There are so many well-equipped professional soldiers, agents, and special forces. If it were a normal battle, it would be impossible to kill them without hundreds of people. So, how did you do it? Do you want me to write a report?" Boren glared at Charlotte. "Can you not write a report? You killed so many people, Indian soldiers, CIA agents, and special forces. Don't you need a report to explain the situation to the top?" "Fine." Charlotte said, "Here's what happened. Our people were on a mission when a man in a monk's robe appeared. He gave a concise account of what had happened. The only thing he concealed was everything related to Zhu Xianyue. You killed 50 Indian soldiers and those Americans who sneaked up from the back of the mountain?" After listening to Charlotte's statement, Boren looked shocked. Not only Boren, but Tang Buchuan, Liang Xiao, and Long Bing were also shocked. It must be known that those enemies were not a motley crew. Except for those Indian soldiers who were relatively weak, the rest were professional agents and professional special forces who could fight 10 people at once. How could anyone believe that one person could kill so many enemies? However, this was the truth. The many corpses were evidence, and the fact that Charlotte and Tang Yuyen were still alive was also evidence. "This is what happened." Charlotte said, "However, I didn't do it alone. There was also Tang Yuyen. She also killed a lot of enemies." Boren said, "I called her. She said that she killed 4 and the rest were killed by you. She also said that if it weren't for you protecting her, she would have been dead." Charlotte wanted to give Tang Yuyen a part of the number of enemies killed, but he didn't expect that Boren had already talked to Tang Yuyen on the phone. He shrugged. "Boss is there a rule that says how many people can be killed?" "You kid, I don't mean to criticize you. Even if you kill 9,000 of the enemies who invaded our borders, it would still be the right thing to do. In this battle, you showed the prestige of our country. Well done. You are the god of war of 101 innings. Charlotte smiled bitterly. He didn't want to be such a god of war. Sherborne slapped Charlotte on the shoulder. But this matter is too big. During this time, you should stay in your Thunder Horse military factory, and don't go out. Don't go to any parties and don't meet any strangers. Most importantly, don't appear in the media. I know that, Charlotte said. By the way, how did you deal with those corpses? Our people didn't collect the corpses, but we have notified the relevant people in the United States and India and asked them for an explanation. Charlotte said, I don't think they will admit the identity of those people. Sherborne said, we didn't expect them to admit it. If they don't admit the identity of those people, we will dispose of the corpses in the end. But for now, let those corpses be placed there. I hope there won't be many beasts and crows there in the next few days. For some reason, the image of Gu Qin appeared in Charlotte's mind. In the ice and snow, she was lying on the snow with a faint smile on the corner of her mouth. He hated her, and he had his reasons. She hated him, and she also had her reasons. But no matter what the reason was, no matter whose reason it was no longer important. The grudge between him and her had ended with her death. At this time, when he thought of Gu Qin, there was no hatred in his heart. After leaving Sherborne's office, Liang Xiao pulled Charlotte into her office. Boss Sher's words make sense. You'd better not show up in public during this time. Liang Xiao whispered. I know, don't worry. Charlotte said. Also, give me some time. I will find out who betrayed you. Liang Xiao said. Don't act recklessly. I will investigate this matter myself. They won't dare to do anything to me, but if you touch someone you shouldn't touch, you will get into trouble. If I get into trouble, will you help me? Charlotte frowned. What do you think? Liang Xiao suddenly hugged him. Charlotte was stunned for a moment. He didn't know whether he should push her away or not. Liang Xiao moved closer to his ear and whispered, Go back. If there is any news, I will look for you. You really want to investigate? That's what I should do. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. Lei, it's time to go. Long Bing's voice was heard. I will send you back. Liang Xiao hurriedly released Charlotte. I'm leaving, Charlotte said, bowed his head and left. He couldn't resist her burning eyes. Chapter 757. Who leaked the information? This question lingered in Charlotte's heart. If he didn't find out this time, then what happened last night would happen a second time, and a third time. He was able to avert danger this time because of Zhu Xuanyue's help. Would there be reinforcements like Zhu Xianyue next time? In fact, if it wasn't for Zhu Xuanyue's timely arrival last night, Tang Yuyan would have died in humiliation, and he would have fallen into the hands of the CIB. Although he and Tang Yuyan survived, Bagu and Marcus died, and Amanda and Pu Taiyong fell into the hands of Knight Masha. He had to take revenge. The death of Bagu and Marcus also shrouded Peace Residence in a sad atmosphere. After Charlotte returned to Peace Residence, Xia Changhe took him and Yelena to the temple in the backyard to burn incense for Bagu and Marcus, and held a simple memorial ceremony. Then, the three came to a secret room. Knight Masha hasn't called yet? Xia Changhe asked Charlotte as soon as they entered the secret room. Not yet, I can't get through to Amanda's phone. Now we can only wait for her call, and then make a deal with her. Charlotte said. Are you really going to give Knight Masha $50 million? Yelena asked Charlotte. Charlotte said, no matter how much money I have to spend, I won't give up on Amanda and Pu Taiyong. Everyone in the Zodiac Squad is the same, we are a family. A touched smile appeared on Yelena's face. If Charlotte treated Amanda and Pu Taiyong like this, then he would treat her like this in the future. $50 million was not a small amount, and there was absolutely no boss in this world who would be willing to pay $50 million to redeem two subordinate. But Charlotte was willing, and without hesitation, which showed that he really treated the members of the Zodiac Squad as his family. What was there to regret following such a boss? Leicester, you don't have to worry about the funeral of Bagoo and Marcus. I will take care of it. Xia Changhe said, don't show your face in public during this time. In addition, he had to find out who was the one who leaked the secret. If he can betray you once, he can betray you a second time and a third time. Charlotte said, don't worry, Dad. I'll find out the truth. Do what you need to do. I will find out who this person is. Charlotte was slightly stunned. Dad, you've already retired. Don't get involved in this matter. Xia Changhe said, can you do everything by yourself? You have to run your company and face the threats of the CIA and the FA organization. Now, even the Japanese are involved, and you have to find the mole by yourself. Can you handle it alone? How are you going to investigate? You don't have to worry about that. When this sensitive period is over, I will let the 5 people you haven't met meet you. Charlotte nodded. The 5 members of the Zodiac team that he hadn't met yet were snake, monkey, dog, pig, and rat. These 5 members had been performing tasks elsewhere, but Xia Changhe had never told him what tasks they were performing. Dad seems to be hiding something from me. What are those 5 members doing? Are they the elites of the Zodiac team? Are they only used at this critical moment? When leaving the secret room, Charlotte couldn't help but guess. Charlotte didn't go to the factory. He went straight back to his room. He soaked in a hot bath and then went to sleep. He was exhausted after a night of fighting. Only now did he completely relax. He had a dream. He dreamed of Zhu Xianyue, but it was not the blonde girl Maritina who died in Italy, but the face of Princess Yongmei of the Ming dynasty. She fell from the sky, wearing a silver armor and holding a silver sword, killing in all directions. She disappeared, and Tang Yuyan came again. The dream changed from a world of ice and snow to a bridal chamber. Red lanterns, red characters, red candles, red bedding, and even the mattress were red. Happiness, in addition to happiness, there was more happiness. Tang Yuyan was sitting on the bed, with a big red veil on her head. Her hand was holding a red silk handkerchief embroidered with mandarin ducks, quietly waiting for him to lift her veil. He lifted her veil. Her face was so beautiful that it could put the moon to shame and the flowers to shame. He couldn't wait to push her down on the bed, and then pressed her down, kissing her mouth. His hands were busy. You have to be gentle, this is my first time. Tang Yuyan looked very shy. He was so excited that he couldn't care less. When he was about to do something, the door was suddenly kicked open. He was shocked. He looked back and saw Tang Yunhai. The old man was holding a green dragon crescent moon knife and roared, "You dare to go to my granddaughter's bed without registering? I'll kill you!" He wanted to run, but Tang Yin hugged him tightly and said, "Hubby, I want to give birth to a monkey for you." He couldn't break free. Just as she was speaking, the old man rushed over and raised his knife. "Ah!" Charlotte cried out and woke up from his dream. It was dark outside the window, and the sky was dotted with stars. He didn't realize that he had slept until it was dark. Recalling the dream, Charlotte couldn't help but shake his head and smile bitterly. It's so strange. Why would I have such a dream? Am I so afraid of marriage? Knock, knock, knock. Someone knocked on the door. "Chairman Xia, someone is looking for you." It was Yelena's voice. When Yelena called him Chairman Xia, it was usually when an official or a client came to visit. Charlotte's left eye twitched slightly and he saw Yelena and a middle-aged man. The middle-aged man turned out to be Song Baicheng. Charlotte got up to open the door and walked out. He didn't greet Song Baicheng but said to Yelena, "It's all right. You can go and rest." Yelena said, "Okay, you guys talk." Xia Lei then greeted Song Baicheng, "Oh, it's Mr. Song. Is there anything I can help you with? It's so late and you're here." Song Baicheng said calmly, "I'm here to talk to you about that document. Why don't you invite me to sit down? Are we just going to stand here and talk? That contract?" Charlotte suddenly thought of his meeting with Yushanha before he went to Shi province. Yushanha showed him a document. There was an additional condition on the document that reduced his loan, which was to send an administrative director to the Lima Group. He refused at that time. In order to avoid Yushanha and put some pressure on him, he agreed to go to Shi province to carry out the task. He didn't expect that Song Baiching would come to him as soon as he came back. When did Mr. Song go to work for Yushanha? Charlotte asked. I don't work for anyone. I'm also a civil servant. It's normal to be transferred from one department to another, Song Baiching said. Is Ling Hao also transferred? Charlotte asked tentatively. Well, Mr. Xia, I'm not here to talk to you about my work with Mr. Ling. I'm here to talk to you about that document. Song Baiching was a little unhappy. Charlotte shrugged and said, Well, let's talk. Mr. Xia, are we going to talk like this? Are we going to talk here? There was already a trace of anger in Song Baiching's eyes. Charlotte didn't even invite him to sit down, let alone serve him tea. This kind of contemptuous attitude simply didn't take him seriously. He didn't even take him as a person. Charlotte smiled and said, Oh, forgive me for being rude. Please sit down, please sit down. Song Baiching was stunned. There was a corridor in front of Charlotte's bedroom. There were no tables or chairs in the corridor, and there were no tables or chairs in the courtyard under the corridor. Charlotte asked him to sit on the ground. However, at this moment, Charlotte sat down on the marble steps of the corridor and said with a smile, Mr. Song, sit down, let's sit down and talk. He really asked Song Baiching to sit on the ground. Humph! Song Baiching snorted coldly, You sit down, I won't. I'll leave after I finish talking. Then say it. Song Baiching said coldly, I believe you've read that document. Yes, I've read it. Are you clear about everything? Yes, it's clear. Then I won't bother to discuss the content of the document with you again. I'll just say it. Song Baiching said, Chief, you asked me to pass a message to you. The document will not be changed, nor will it wait for you, nor will it be extended indefinitely. Tomorrow, before you get off work tomorrow afternoon, you have to give him a clear answer whether to sign it or not. Why is he so anxious? Chief Yu also wants to put this matter to rest. If you have already considered it, you can tell me your decision now. If you want to sign it now, I brought the document with Chief Yu's signature. It's the same if you sign it in front of me. Why are you so anxious? Mr. Xia. Song Baiching suddenly became angry. Why should I be anxious? What does it have to do with me? This document is related to the clearing of more than 20 billion yuan in Rema Group's loan. You've taken such a big advantage, and you still say that Chief Yu and I are anxious? You're just taking advantage of me. Don't get angry. Charlotte's tone was indifferent, not angry at all. Humph. Let me tell you, you can sign it or not. Anyway, I've already informed you. You have to give Chief Yu an answer before you get off work tomorrow afternoon. If you sign it, you'll get more than 20 billion yuan for free. If you don't sign it, you can slowly pay off the loan. After saying this, Song Baiching turned and left. Charlotte looked at Song Baiching's back and fell into deep thought. This Song Baiching actually went to follow Yushanha. Since Song Baiching has gone, how can Ling Hao, who lost to Fan Fan in the power struggle, stay in the ZN Bureau and be suppressed by Fan Fan? He will definitely go too. If Ling Hao goes, Yushanha will really be like a tiger with wings. But why is Yushanha so anxious? The sound of footsteps could be heard. Charlotte stopped thinking and looked in the direction of the sound. Fan Fan in a black office lady uniform came into his sight. The small black suit outlined the soft lines of her small waist, and under the open collar was a white shirt. The shirt's collar was open, revealing a large area of snow-white skin and 1/3 of her cleavage. The short black skirt that barely covered her buttocks tightly wrapped around her ample bosom, making it look even more full and perky, like a full moon, like a ripe peach. Her face had light makeup, light lipstick, light eyeshadow, long eyelashes, and a pair of big watery eyes under the eyelashes. She not only had the sexy and seductive mature woman, but also the temperament of a leader and the scholarly air of a knowledgeable woman. These elements mixed together to form a stunner. Fan, she was the highest-level woman Charlotte had slept with, and the only woman with a special constitution he had met. Fan walked over slowly, her long legs pleasing to the eye. Before she got close, a faint fragrance and a soft voice came first. "Why are you sitting on the ground?" "Waiting for you. I knew you were coming." Charlotte got up from the ground. Fan stopped beside Charlotte and reached out to pat Charlotte's butt twice. "Look at you, your pants are covered in dust." Charlotte was a little speechless. "Why are you looking for me?" "It's about you. Let's talk inside." Charlotte. Chapter 758. After entering the room, Fan sat down on the edge of the bed, patted the mattress and said seriously, "Come and sit down. Let's sit down and talk." Charlotte looked at the sofa in the room and said, "I have a sofa at home." Fan rolled her eyes at Charlotte and said, "Are you afraid that I'll eat you? My relatives are here, so I'm not free. Are you relieved now?" Charlotte knew what her relatives were, so he relaxed a little when he heard her say that. Fan had always wanted to have a child with him, but he hadn't decided whether he would have one with her or not. He was really not in the mood today. Since she said so, it didn't matter where they sat to talk. He walked over and sat next to Fan. She smelled good. Fan opened her briefcase and took out a document from it. Then she put it on Charlotte's thigh and said, "I've read this document. What do you think?" Charlotte recognized at a glance that the document on his thigh was the one that Yushanha wanted him to sign. He said, "I won't sign such a document. If I sign it, it will open a door, and more officials will enter the Rema Group in the future. In the end, I became someone who had nothing to do with the Lima Group." "Why do you think so?" Charlotte said, "A person who can control the transactions of the Rema Group, the political and ideological work of the employees, and even the future development of the Rema Group. This is almost the deputy chairman of the group, second only to me, right? Moreover, I can't fire the administrative director he sent. If I agree, won't I be shooting myself in the foot?" Fan was silent for a moment before she said, "If you don't sign it, the higher-ups won't forgive your loan. It's more than 20 billion yuan. If you want to repay this loan, it will take a long time. This will hinder the development of the Rema Group. You must have thought about this, right?" "Of course I have thought about it." Charlotte frowned and looked at Fan. "Are you here to persuade me? You also want to persuade me to sign that document?" If so, even if Fan had a very close relationship with him, he would still let her leave. Fan didn't say anything, but she placed a soft hand on Charlotte's thigh, and then slowly crawled under the document. The document was arched up, and the top of it slowly tilted up. Charlotte frowned even harder. "I'm asking you a question. What are you doing?" Fan pursed her lips and smiled. "Aren't I answering you right now?" "Charlotte, ? Fan's hands stopped. "I'm a woman who can master your core technology. Our relationship is only a marriage certificate away from being a real husband and wife. I'm also the mother of your future son and daughter. Tell me, do you think I'm willing to let you cripple your own martial arts and hand over the Rema Group?" She did control his core, but it had nothing to do with technology. Her meaning was very clear. She was on the same side as him, and she wanted to protect Charlotte's interests. Charlotte endured her hand, feeling a mess. "Since that's the case, do you have any ideas?" "I want to hear your ideas first." "What else can I do?" That loan was exchanged with the French for the avionics and stealth technology of the Rafale fighter. If I go through the normal channels, I'm afraid they won't sell these two technologies even if I offered 50 billion yuan, let alone 20 billion yuan. I only asked for the loan to be waived, and they actually added such a condition. If I'm pissed off, I'll terminate the deal with the French. If they want the avionics and stealth technology of the Rafale fighter, they can trade with the French themselves. I don't care, I'll slowly repay the loan. All right, as long as I know your determination, it's fine. You don't have to worry about anything. Leave this matter to me, Fan Fan said. You? What ideas do you have? Fan Fan's face was charming and seductive. I have an idea. Do you want to know? Then come and get it. Charlotte was slightly stunned. What do you mean? How do I get it? Fan Fan opened her briefcase and took out a glass container. Charlotte recognized at a glance that the glass container in her hand contained the antidote for his little tadpoles. He suddenly became a little nervous. Didn't you say that you're here? I lied to you. I'm here for the child. I've already developed an antidote. Her eyes were filled with desire. Give me a child. Charlotte. Fan Fan got up and sat on Charlotte's lap. She also threw the document that Yushanha had concocted to the ground. What she wanted could be seen in her eyes. Her eyes were full of love, charming and alluring. She was a woman born with a special physique. Before she was activated, she was a pure and knowledgeable bioengineer. However, Charlotte had activated her special physique and developed it all the way. She was no longer that pure and knowledgeable female scientist. She had gradually drifted away from the path of a vixen and could no longer turn back. Charlotte had made her like this, and he had to take responsibility for it now. Although the process of taking responsibility was actually very pleasant, he really wasn't in the mood tonight. Just as Fan Fan was pestering him, his gaze fell on a drawer on the bedside table. There was a bottle of antidote there. He couldn't help but think, should I use it or not? The slight contact had already made Fan Fan extremely excited. She pushed Charlotte down and placed her arms on both sides of Charlotte's neck, forming a bed position. She looked down at the remaining handsome face. I know you've been through a terrible thing, but I really can't stand it anymore. I want a child. Give me a child. You haven't even told me how you can help me solve the problem. Charlotte now had an innocent look on his face, like a university student who didn't understand the ways of the world. You're the most intelligent person in the world. Do you still need to ask such a question? Fan Fan slowly moved closer to the handsome face. I'm the director of the ZN Bureau. If Yushanha can set up obstacles for you, I can crush those obstacles for you. Xia Lei revealed a trace of a smile. He had helped her become the director of the ZN Bureau. Her status was no lower than Yushanha's. Yushanha had the power to set up obstacles for him, and she also had the power to crush those obstacles for him. The current him was no longer the self-made kid who could be bullied by anyone. He already had his own power. Fan Fan kissed him on the lips. She was trembling and was in a daze. After some entanglement, Charlotte said in her ear, "Go take a shower." Fan Fan hugged him and refused to let go. "I showered at home when I came." Charlotte said, "Be obedient. Our child wants to come to this world from the fragrant path. Don't you think you're already far away from the standard? Screw you. It's all because of you." Fan Fan gritted her teeth and bit Charlotte. "Okay, I'm going to take a shower." She got up from Charlotte's arms. After taking half a step, she suddenly turned back and grabbed the glass container in her hand. Then she smiled at Charlotte and said, "It's today." Go ahead, Charlotte said with a smile. Fan Fan ran barefoot to the bathroom, but she only took one step before she tripped over the black lace that slid down to her ankles and fell to the ground. The softness that was smashed flat, the big white ball that was trembling endlessly, and what was that? These scenes crashed into Charlotte's eyes. He couldn't bear to look at them and closed his eyes. A second after he closed his eyes, his face was hit by a ball of fabric, and his nostrils were filled with the smell of what was that? "You bullied me." Fan Fan's voice was very arrogant. Charlotte was a little depressed and said, "You were careless. What does it have to do with me? Otherwise, if I take a shower, will I fall?" Fan Fan rolled her eyes at Charlotte, then carefully held the glass container and walked to the bathroom. Looking at her back view, Charlotte's mind was filled with hope and happiness. He sighed in his heart, and that question returned to his mind again. Should he have a child with her? The sound of water came from the bathroom, and Fan Fan's voice was also heard. "Baby, Mommy is coming." "Oh no, you are coming." Charlotte reached out to open the drawer of the bedside table. He might have a child with her, but definitely not now. The next morning, Fan Fan left Peace Residence, and Charlotte went to the Thunder Horse military factory. Since Fan Fan had agreed to intervene in this matter, he didn't need to worry about it, and he didn't need to use the deal with the French to threaten anyone. That was his last resort, and it was best not to use it. When Charlotte arrived at the tank workshop, he realized that Sylvia and Anina had been working overtime at the tank workshop since the day he left. They didn't even go home. For 2 days and 2 nights, the 2 German women didn't sleep, and even had their meals delivered to the workshop. They didn't even know what he went through in Xi province. Their efforts were exchanged for Rema Group's first tank engine. When he arrived, they were working with the workers to install it on an infantry fighting vehicle. Rema Group was about to have its first tank of its own. The busy work scene was like a cool breeze, blowing away all the negative emotions in Charlotte's heart. He didn't disturb anyone, and quietly went to the changing room to change before coming to the workshop where the tank engine was assembled. "Give me a wrench." Sylvia didn't even notice that Charlotte was beside her. She treated Charlotte, who was wearing a hard hat, as an ordinary worker. Charlotte handed her a wrench, but Sylvia didn't even look at him, and went back to her work. "You, bring me a lubricating oil gun." It was Anina's voice. Charlotte then went to get a lubricating oil gun and handed it to Anina. At this moment, a worker suddenly recognized Charlotte. He was stunned for a moment before he said in surprise, Chairman Xia is here." Only then did Anina and Sylvia turn to look at Charlotte. Charlotte smiled and said, "It's nothing, what do you need to do?" Anina suddenly jumped down from the tank's engine cover. She spread her legs and accurately clamped onto Charlotte's waist like a pair of pliers. Her hands also hugged Charlotte's neck, and then the entire workshop was filled with her joyful voice. Before you came, we had already conducted a preliminary test on the Lei Qing. Its performance is excellent, and we will soon have our own tank." A large group of staff members stared at Xia Lei and Anina on top of him, dumbfounded. Charlotte's face suddenly turned red. He lowered his voice and said in German, "What are you doing? So many people are looking at us." Sorry, I was too excited." After saying that, Anina kissed Charlotte's forehead. She was being watched by a group of Chinese people, but she couldn't avoid the German etiquette. Although Anina got down from his body, Charlotte was still stunned. The workers' gazes made him feel awkward and ashamed. Chapter 759. In the afternoon, Rema Group's first infantry fighting vehicle, the BZ-15-20, walked off the production line. This infantry fighting vehicle could carry 15 army soldiers. It was driven by 6x6 and was equipped with a 30mm machine gun, fixed Hellhound single artillery, and a heavy machine gun. It had a total mass of 20 tons and used reactive armor developed by Rema Group itself, as well as a defense system developed by Rema Group itself. Its shape was sci-fi and awe-inspiring. It also had a name in addition to its number, Sweeper. The infantry fighting vehicle currently in service, the Type 92 infantry fighting vehicle, had a total mass of 18 tons and was also driven by 6x6. This type of infantry fighting vehicle could accommodate 3 operators and 9 infantrymen, but it was only equipped with a 12.7mm machine gun. Even this type of infantry fighting vehicle, which was in large numbers in service, was modeled after the Russian BPM-1 infantry fighting vehicle. The new Type X infantry fighting vehicle produced by Shenzhou Industry Group was actually an improved version of the Type 92. After all, it was still Russian technology. Compared with the infantry fighting vehicles of Europe, the United States, and Japan, it was far inferior. The birth of the sweeper filled the gap in the domestic production of infantry fighting vehicles. Its technology originated from Rheinmetall, but after Charlotte obtained a certain technology, he had his means to make this technology more mature, more reasonable, and more powerful. The sweeper was naturally no exception. Although it originated from Rheinmetall's vehicle technology, it was more powerful than any type of infantry fighting vehicle of Rheinmetall in all aspects. The first was the occupants of the infantry fighting vehicle. At present, most infantry fighting vehicles could only accommodate 13 occupants, but the sweeper could accommodate 15 occupants, not counting the 3 vehicle operators. Therefore, the added weight was worth a lot of money. Then there was the firepower. Although the new Type X infantry fighting vehicle currently produced by Shenzhou Industry Group was also equipped with a 30mm machine gun, the sweeper had an additional fixed Hellhound single artillery, which was a killing weapon that could hit tank. On the battlefield, the infantry fighting vehicle was almost a target for tanks and had no power to fight back at all. However, the Rema Group's sweeper reversed the fate of the infantry fighting vehicle that could only be beaten. On the battlefield, which tank dared to underestimate the power of the Hellhound single artillery? Moreover, this was an enhanced version of the infantry-type Hellhound cannon specially developed for the scavengers. Finally, there was the sweeper's defense system. In addition to the reactive armor that dealt with artillery shells and rockets, it was also equipped with interference bombs and a decoy system that could be used to defend against the enemy's anti-tank missiles. The sweeper was equipped with powerful firepower and a powerful defense system. It was equivalent to a martial arts master with a golden shield. Once it entered the battlefield, it was no longer just a transportation tool to transport infantry soldiers, but a real chariot. Rumble amidst the roar of the engine, Rema Group's first IFV drove out of the vehicle workshop and headed towards the shooting range. In the tank, Charlotte personally drove this big guy that had just walked off the production line, while Sylvia and Anina naturally became his co-drivers. Of the 2 German women, one was on the left, responsible for controlling the defense system, and the other was on the right, responsible for controlling the firepower system. However, this wasn't a battlefield, and the 2 German women didn't need to touch the tank's defense and firepower systems. When the tank drove out of the factory, the 2 German women simply went to Charlotte's side and watched him drive the tank. Xiaolei was obviously very excited, and he was playing very wildly. He suddenly accelerated and let the tank fly to test Lei Qing's power. When the tank's speed reached its peak, he suddenly came to an abrupt stop. It was also at this stop that the 2 German women fell onto his back. 4 soft German-made breasts hit his body and flattened their shape. That feeling was even more refreshing than driving a tank. Did you do it on purpose? Anina waved her fist and punched Charlotte. Lucas, you're always so bad. When there were no outsiders, she and Sylvia always liked to call Charlotte Lucas. Charlotte laughed and said, "Who told you to leave your posts?" Sylvia simply wrapped her arms around Charlotte's neck from behind and said in a sweet voice, "Lucas, did you notice? The maximum speed of our tank has reached 100 kilometers per hour, which is the highest speed of a wheeled tank, and we're driving a tracked tank. I believe we're sitting in the world's most advanced tank." How could Charlotte not notice? The reason why he was so excited was because the sweeper's power was so strong. It should be known that even the most advanced Type X infantry fighting vehicle that Shenzhou Industry Group currently claimed was also a track type, but its maximum speed was no more than 70 km per hour, which was 10 to 15 km per hour compared to the 80 km per hour and 85 km per hour in Europe and the United States. But the Rema Group's sweeper infantry fighting vehicle exceeded the speed of Europe and the United States by 20 kilometers. Lei Qing, which was led by him and completed with the assistance of Sylvia and Anina, succeeded, and it was a huge success. In the past, Europe and the United States were decades ahead of China in various fields, especially in the military field, leaving China behind by more than 8 Street. But now, Rema Group at least surpassed Europe and the United States in some fields. And this was just the beginning. With this momentum, Rema Group would surpass Europe and the United States in more fields. From this point of view, Charlotte and his Rema Group had indeed threatened the interests of Europe and the United States, especially the interests of the United States. The latter's desire to get rid of him could be imagined. "Tell me, what reward do you want?" Charlotte was in a particularly happy mood, and his forthright habit came back again. "I don't want any reward, Lucas. You've given me enough. If you must reward someone, then reward Sylvia," Anina said. "No, no, no." Sylvia waved her hand repeatedly. "I'm fine now, I don't need any reward." "How can I do that?" Sylvia kissed his cheek, then said in his ear, "If you really want to do something for me, then let's do it tonight. Let's do it tonight." It was an ambiguous hint. However, Xia Lei knew that this was not a reward. Instead, it was a gift to him. He and the Lima Group had received such great benefits. It was only reasonable for him to reward them. How could he take the benefits from them? Furthermore, even though Sylvia said so, who in this world didn't love money? It wasn't easy for him to get this talent, and he didn't want to disappoint her and lose her in the end. "How about this? I'll give each of you a bonus of 5 million euros. Sylvia, I built a house for Anina. You choose a place, and I'll build a house for you too." "Really?" Sylvia was very excited. "Then I'll buy a piece of land next to Anina's house, and build a house there. I want to be Anina's neighbor." "That's great," Charlotte said with a smile. "I don't have to run around when I come to Germany in the future. Visiting one house is equivalent to visiting 2 of your houses." Anina kissed Charlotte's cheek and smiled sweetly. "Isn't our home your home too?" Amidst the laughter, the sweeper ran to the shooting range. Under Charlotte's control, the sweeper performed all kinds of maneuvers in the shooting range. Although it weighed 20 tons, it was very agile. It was like a ferocious tiger. Then, it was the firepower test. The sound of the machine gun, the deafening explosion of the Hellhound's cannon hitting the target, and the sound of interference bombs were released. The scene was shocking and explosive. In the shooting range, the relevant staff of Rema Group were all smiles. Apart from work, they were also chatting. "Our sweeper is born. I'm sure it's the most advanced infantry fighting vehicle in the world. What I want to say is that in this world, I'm afraid only our chairman Xia can build such a fighting vehicle. Our sweeper is at least 15 years ahead of similar products in Europe and America. Don't forget Anina and Sylvie. They also contributed a lot. I think only a man like our chairman Xia can conquer those 2 German women. If it were me, I wouldn't even dare to think about it." "You? Haha, are you kidding me? You wouldn't even be able to handle 2 Chinese women, let alone 2 foreign horses. The foreign horses are strong, and ordinary men can't conquer them. What are you talking about? This is work time. But I agree with you, haha. I'm willing to bet that those 2 German women will appear on Director Xia's bed again tonight. So what? Chairman Xia will let them see the power of Chinese men." There was a burst of cheerful laughter. The test for the sweeper was not over until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. "Chairman Xia." Yelena's voice came from the communicator. "You and Song are here again. They said they are waiting for you in your office. Do you want to see them?" Charlotte said, "I'll come over right away." After ending the call, he said to Anina and Sylvie, "That's all for today's test. We'll continue tomorrow. You guys go back and rest first." "All right then, we'll wait for you at home." Sylvie and Anina kissed Charlotte's cheeks at the same time. The 2 women kissed the same man's cheeks at the same time and said ambiguous words. The scene was warm and harmonious, and it was really enviable. In the office building of the Thunder Horse Military Factory, Yu Shanhe looked in the direction of the shooting range. There was no expression on his face, and he was as cold as a stone. Song Baiching stood next to Yu Shanhe, and his expression was also very solemn. Chief Yu, the deadline is coming soon, but I'm worried about that kid's attitude. I talked to him last night and I think… Yu Shanhe interrupted him. He doesn't agree? I'll make him agree. Who does he think he's going against? Me, Yu Shanhe? If that's what he thought, he couldn't be more wrong. Humph, he thinks that no one can stop him, but in my opinion, he's hitting a stone with an egg. Song Baiching said. Chief Yu, Mr. Ling said. Yu Shanhe glanced at Song Baiching. Song Baiching had shut his mouth just now. He understood the meaning of Yu Shanhe's gaze. Charlotte's blonde secretary was still in Charlotte's office behind him. It would be bad if she heard it. At this moment, an infantry fighting vehicle drove in from the gate of the factory. The infantry fighting vehicle was avant-garde, like an infantry fighting vehicle from the future that had traveled through time and space. The golden sunlight shone on the vehicle, and the scene was like an oil painting with thick ink and heavy colors, with a kind of cold beauty of a weapon of war. Yu Shanhe was stunned for a moment and said in surprise, I know that Rema Group is preparing to produce infantry fighting vehicles, but I didn't expect it to be so fast. Yes, it's too fast. I heard that they don't even have an engine. How long has it been? They already have a fighting vehicle. If they continue to develop at this speed, it will be terrible. Yu Shanhe's brows furrowed. He represented the interests of domestic military enterprises, and his purpose was to suppress Charlotte and Rema Group. But now, not only had he not made any progress, but Rema Group was developing at a terrifying speed. The fighting vehicle had come out, but was the tank still far away? Chapter 760. The scavenger IFV rushed over at high speed, leaving faint tracks on the asphalt road. It then stopped in the open space in front of the office building and made a 360-degree turn. The engine roared, and the diesel smoke rose with the wind. Even Yu Shanhe and Song Baiching, who were standing on the top floor, could smell it. For Yu Shanhe and Song Baiching, they had smelled a lot of gasoline and diesel burning, but the diesel smell coming from the scavenger IFV was the most unpleasant. Was he showing off? Boring. The scavenger IFV stopped, and Charlotte opened the top cover and climbed out of the driver's seat. He looked up at Yu Shanhe and Song Baiching, waved, and greeted them with a smile. Hello, Chief Yu. Yu Shanhe forced a smile at the corner of his mouth. You really know how to play. Do I need to tell you that Comrade Charlotte has worked hard? Charlotte spread his hands and entered the office building. Entering the stairwell, Charlotte dialed Fanfan's number. Beep beep, beep beep. The number you have dialed is powered off. Please try again later. Charlotte frowned. Last night, Fanfan told him that she would take care of this matter and that he didn't have to worry. She made a solemn vow, but it was already 4:20. Not only did Fanfan not take the initiative to call, but she also turned off her phone. Could it be that the promise she made last night was fake? Did she just want a chance to get pregnant? Thinking of this, Xia Lei couldn't help but shake his head. Even he himself didn't believe this hypothesis, because it was impossible for Fanfan to betray him. They were on the same boat, and they were strong when they worked together, but weak when they broke up. What's more, how could she get pregnant in one night? And even if there was such a coincidence, if he didn't use the anti-antidote, she couldn't have harmed the father of the child in her belly, right? But putting aside the assumption of betrayal and deception, Charlotte really couldn't understand why Fanfan would turn off her phone at this time. Xia Lei came to the office with mixed feelings. He saw Yu Shanhe and Song Baiching sitting on the sofa, as well as Yelena, who was making tea for them. Qin Kaiyue was still in France participating in the army weapons exhibition, so the responsibility of greeting the guests naturally fell to her, the foreign secretary. However, she would only personally brew tea for people of Yu Shanhe's level. If it was just Song Baiching, she wouldn't even bother with him. Ha ha! Charlotte laughed. What brings you here, Chief Yu? Why didn't you tell me in advance that you were coming? You should have asked your subordinates to inform me so that I could prepare a welcoming ceremony or something. All right, don't talk nonsense. Yu Shanhe sneered. You know why I'm here, and I know that you don't want to see me at all. Don't you think it's hypocritical to talk about a welcome ceremony? Charlotte sat opposite Yu Shanhe, and Song Baicheng crossed his legs casually and maintained a smile on his face. Chief Yu, what are you talking about? I still hope that Chief Yu will take care of us in the future and take care of our Rema Group's business. I can't even invite a distinguished guest like you, so why wouldn't I want to see you? I'm very happy to see you. All right, you have a sharp tongue. I can't win against you. I'd better talk business with you. I'm better at this. Yu Shanhe gave Song Baicheng a look. Song Baicheng took out 2 red-headed documents from his briefcase and said directly, Mr. Xia, we talked about it last night, so I won't repeat it. He looked at the watch on his wrist and said, It's not long before 5 o'clock. Chief Yu is also here, so you can state your position now. Are you going to sign this document or not? Charlotte also looked at the watch on his wrist and was a little anxious. What's going on with this prodigal woman, Fan Fan? She's not here yet. What's she doing? Mr. Xia. Being ignored again, Song Baicheng's teeth itched with hatred, but he had to pretend to be polite. Charlotte pretended to come back to his senses. Sorry. I was just thinking about whether I should add a Huiwei sound system in my tank. Hearing this, Yu Shanhe and Song Baicheng almost grabbed the teacups on the coffee table and threw them at him. Add a Huiwei sound system in the infantry fighting vehicle? Was his brain caught in the sluice of the Three Gorges hydropower station? Charlotte said with a smile, Think about it. Wouldn't it be cool to have a little heavy metal music on the battlefield? Don't underestimate the impact of music on people. Heavy metal music can stimulate people's adrenaline and make our soldiers excited, as if they've been injected with chicken blood. Yu Shanhe suddenly grabbed the teacup and slammed it on the coffee table. Charlotte, that's enough. Charlotte trembled and looked very scared. Yelena, who was next to him, stared at Charlotte speechlessly. This guy had killed more than 90 agents, special forces, and professional soldiers in one battle. Yu Shanhe had only smashed the teacup and he was actually scared. Wasn't this too fake? I came here personally today to ask you a question. Are you going to sign this document or not? Yu Shanhe was aggressive. Charlotte said, I'll look at the document again. I didn't read it clearly last time. Give it to him, Yu Shanhe said angrily. Song Baicheng handed a document to Charlotte. Charlotte took a look at the document and then said to Yelena, Please give Chief Yu another cup of tea. Yelena nodded and thought to herself, What is he playing at? Not only could Yelena not understand Charlotte's thoughts, but Yu Shanhe and Song Baicheng also could not understand Charlotte's thoughts. If he said he refused, his attitude was not the same. If he said he wanted to sign it, he gave people the impression that he was sloppy and did not take the matter in front of him seriously at all. Charlotte's thoughts were actually not complicated at all. He was stalling for time and waiting for Fan Fan to appear. He pretended to look through the document seriously, and from time to time, he would ask Song Baicheng about a certain clause, as if he wanted to thoroughly understand the document. Time passed little by little, and the deadline of 5 o'clock was getting closer and closer. At 4:50, Yu Shanhe's patience was almost worn out by Charlotte. He urged, Charlotte, how much longer do you want to read? Can you hurry up? I still have a meeting to attend. I don't have time to wait for you. No hurry, Chief Yu, I'll finish reading a few more pages, Charlotte said. Enough! Yu Shanhe stood up. Give me an answer now. Are you going to sign this document or not? Charlotte said calmly, Chief Yu, this is not a small matter. Don't I want to take a closer look at the contents of the document? Is this not allowed? Don't pretend. I know very well that you know all the contents of this document. Let me remind you again, this is your benefit, not mine. Don't take advantage of it. Just tell me, are you going to sign it or not? Yushanha's tone was very tough. If it were not for Fanfan's promise, Charlotte would have played the card in his hand at this time, which was to threaten Yushanha by cutting off the deal with the French. But Fanfan had promised. If he played this card again, it would not be a good thing. The reason was very simple. Yushanha must know what card he had in his hand, but he clearly knew it and still suppressed him. This showed that Yushanha did not care about him cutting off the deal with the French. Why did Yushanha not care about him cutting off the deal with the French? Yushanha's thoughts were not difficult to guess at all. If he cut off the deal with the French, Yushanha and the interest group behind him would not suffer any loss, but the country would suffer. And once he cut off the deal with the French, what would the higher-ups think of him? Damaging the interests of the country because of personal interests, regardless of the overall situation, was enough to make him suffer, not to mention the other troubles it would bring. This was also the reason why Charlotte was willing to play this card only as a last resort. Now that Yushanha was forcing him like this, it was obvious that he wanted to force him down this path. Why would I be fooled by you? Maybe Song Baiching still has a recording pen on him. Charlotte thought so in his heart, but he kept a smile on his face. Sign, why wouldn't I sign? For the interests of the country, I am willing to sacrifice my personal interests. Yushanha and Song Baiching could not help but look at each other. Song Baiching could not hold back the joy in his heart. He said with a smile, "Then what are you waiting for, Mr. Xia? Sign it quickly." "Can you wait until I finish reading it?" Charlotte said. Song Baiching. Charlotte buried his head in the document again, looking very serious, but reading it slower than a snail. In the blink of an eye, another 5 minutes passed. "Well, I don't have time to waste with you," Yushanha said coldly. "I can see that you are stalling for time. Let me tell you, no matter what tricks you have, it will be useless this time. If you don't sign, you won't be given a penny of the loan. In addition, your loans are all loans with preferential policies, and the interest is very low. I have already talked to the leaders of the bank today, and the bank said that this is not in line with the rules. From tomorrow onwards, your loan interest rate will return to the market rate." This was the trump card in Yushanha's hand. Charlotte's eyebrows suddenly frowned. If more than 20 billion yuan of loans were to return to the market rate, the interest of commercial loans would be frighteningly high. Just the repayment of interest could slow down the pace of Rema Group's development. Song Baiching sneered and said, "Mr. Xia, there are only 4 minutes left before the last time limit. When did you become like a woman? Isn't it just a decision to sign or not to sign? Can't you just say it out loud?" Charlotte had a headache. "Can I sign it tomorrow? I still have to ask my lawyer. I'm not familiar with the law." "I'll take it that you don't want to sign it. Let's go." Yushanha strode away. Charlotte didn't say anything to stop him, but he was secretly cursing the prodigal woman in his heart. "You stood me up. If you don't give me a satisfactory explanation, I'll spank your ass." Song Baiching grabbed the briefcase and snatched the document from Charlotte's hand as he walked past Charlotte. "Humph! Refusing a toast only to drink a forfeit. Who do you think you are? Just wait and cry." But at this moment Yushanha, who had just walked to the door, stopped, and Song Baiching, who was following closely behind, also stopped. Xia Lei looked over, and a slender figure immediately entered his line of sight. The prodigal woman was finally here. Black OL uniform, red high heels, black stockings, and bright lipstick. The simple colors matched her perfectly. "Oh, Chief Yu, what a coincidence!" Fanfan greeted Yushanha with a sweet smile. Chapter 761. Yushanha looked at Fanfan coldly. "Why are you here?" I have something to discuss with Charlotte," Fanfan said with a smile. "Does Chief Yu also have something to discuss with Charlotte?" Yushanha just nodded, full of the style of a chief. In fact, he didn't really want to leave. He just wanted to put pressure on Charlotte. He was very clear about the relationship between Fan Fan and Charlotte. If it weren't for Charlotte's help, Fan Fan wouldn't have been able to sit in the position of the director of the ZN Bureau. That position belonged to Ling Hao. Fan Fan's appearance at this juncture made him even more reluctant to leave. Yushanha gave Song Baiching another look. Song Baiching understood and put the document he had just snatched from Charlotte's hands on the coffee table. Mr. Xia, forget it. Although the deadline is up, our Chief Yu is a soft-hearted person. Considering that you have made a lot of contributions to the country, I will give you a little more time. Didn't you want to sign it after reading it? Read it quickly, we will wait for you. Yushanha returned to the sofa without saying a word, and his face was expressionless. Charlotte didn't look at the document again. When Yushanha sat down, he got up and walked to Fan Fan with a smile on his face. So it's Chief Fan. What brings you here? Chief Fan? Fan Fan rolled her eyes at Charlotte. It wasn't that her identity wasn't worthy of the title Chief Fan, but Charlotte calling her that made her look old. However, she also knew that Charlotte called her Chief Fan in front of Yushanha. That was to elevate her and belittle Yushanha. Chief Fan, please sit down. I will make you a cup of tea. Charlotte was very attentive and really went to make tea for Fan Fan. Just now, Yushanha's secretary made the tea. Now that Fan Fan was here, Charlotte went to make the tea himself. Although this was an insignificant detail in Yushanha's eyes, it was not a big deal. He was very unhappy in his heart. Miss Fan, why are you looking for Charlotte? Yushanha probed. Fan Fan said, Chief Yu, why are you looking for Charlotte? Yushanha immediately frowned. Fan Fan said, is it inconvenient to say it? If it's not convenient to say, then forget it. I'm not a very curious person. She didn't give Yushanha any face. She didn't need to. When did the director of the ZN Bureau need to give face to Yushanha? At this time, Charlotte came over with a cup of black tea and placed it in front of Fan Fan. He said with a smile, are the two chiefs guessing riddles? Let me do the talking. Chief, you gave me a document to sign. My loan will be waived, but he will send an administrative director to Rema Group. I'm thinking about it. It's so troublesome. I have a headache just thinking about it. That's it? Fan Fan pretended to be surprised. What do you think about it? Charlotte spread his hands. Didn't I say that I have a headache? How can I think about it when I have a headache? Yushanha snorted, that's enough. Are the two of you putting on a show? Fan Fan, I know you're here for this matter. Since you're here, let's finalize this matter today. Fan Fan picked up the teacup and took a sip. Then she frowned. It's hot. Charlotte said, it's freshly brewed. Of course it's hot. Leave it for a while before you drink it. It's not good to burn your tongue. Yushanha's face turned green with anger. He was talking about business, but Fan Fan and Charlotte were talking about trivial things. They didn't care about him at all. Fan Fan. Yushanha's voice was angry. Let me remind you. You have to be clear. Don't make political mistakes. Fan Fan put down the teacup and looked surprised. Chief Yu, is drinking very hot tea a political mistake? Please forgive me. I'm not as politically aware as you are. But thank you for your reminder. I think we should leave it for a while and drink it when it's cold. Yushanha was angry on the spot. Charlotte chuckled in his heart. This prodigal woman's mouth is really good. She doesn't even use a dirty word when she insults people. Don't mess with women. It's true. Song Baiching interrupted and said, Fan Fan, how can you say that? Fan Fan's gaze moved to Song Baiching's face. Her eyes suddenly turned cold. Is Fan Fan something you can call? Don't think that you'll be fine just because you've been transferred to the equipment department. Let me tell you, I can launch an investigation into what you did at the Thunder Horse military factory at any time. At that time, do you think your chief you can protect you? Song Baiching's face suddenly turned pale. His lips moved as if he wanted to say something, but he couldn't say a word. The current Fan was no longer someone he dared to mess with. He. At this time, Ushanha laughed inexplicably. Charlotte sat next to Fan and lowered his voice. What's the matter? It's done. Fan's answer was also very clever. Charlotte breathed a sigh of relief. Ushanha stopped laughing. Fan, you're young and successful, so I won't mess with you. I won't comment on how long you can sit in that position. I'll just say what's going on. I know you're here to help Charlotte, but I still want to kindly remind you that this matter concerns the national interest. There are instructions from above, and this is also a good thing for the development of Rema Group. If you get involved, you'll be standing on the opposite side of the national interest. I hope you won't make such a political mistake. Fan sneered. Standing on the opposite side of the national interest? That's a big accusation. Chief I'll be straightforward. I'm indeed here to help Charlotte, and I'll definitely help him. You can't help. Then I'll try. Humph. How can a private company control the lifeline of a country's military industry work? Ushanha's tone was stern. You can't help just because of this. There are so many military companies and so many people. They are the cornerstone of the country's military industry. Can you and Charlotte challenge so many people? You're overestimating yourself. Charlotte said lightly, Chief I don't agree with this. Why is the military industry in Europe and America so developed? Germany's Rheinmetall is a private company, and so is America's Lockheed Martin Corporation. There are many more private military companies, but I won't mention them all. The private military companies in Europe and America can support their national defense. Why can't we do the same here? Europe and America are Europe and America, and we are us. If you like Europe and America, why don't you develop there? I think it's not that you don't want to go, but that you can't develop there. You enjoy the resources given to you by the country, but your mind is full of your own interests. This won't work. It's wrong and must be corrected. That's enough. Charlotte snorted coldly. Chief I see it very clearly. There's no other reason for this matter. There's only one reason. I've affected the interests of some people, right? Some people are afraid that Rema Group will develop and squeeze them out of the market, right? I think it's not that I'm full of my own interests, but that some people are full of their own interests and put the interests of the country at the back of their minds. You're presumptuous. Ushanha couldn't suppress his anger and slammed the coffee table. With a bang, the coffee table shook. Without waiting for the coffee table to stop, Xiaolei suddenly slammed his palm on the coffee table. The entire coffee table jumped up, and all the teacups on the coffee table fell to the ground. Ushanha was stunned. This wasn't because he was frightened by Charlotte, but because he found it unbelievable. When had a private business owner dared to slap the table in front of him? No, Xiaolei was the first to do so. Song Baiqing pointed at Charlotte. You actually dared. Charlotte interrupted Song Baiqing. Why wouldn't I dare? This is my coffee table. Your owner slapped it without my permission. Why can't I? Song Baiqing was speechless. Charlotte suddenly turned hostile and didn't even care about Ushanha. How could he care about Song Baiqing? Charlotte continued, Mr. Yu, I know that you represent the interests of some people in the domestic military industry, so you're happy to suppress Rema Group. But I want to tell you that our country is developing and some of your ideas are already outdated. Survival of the fittest is the law of nature and the law of the market. Some military enterprises are subsidized by the state, but what they research and produce are old and backward weapons. I produce the most advanced weapons for this country in the world. Even Europe and America can't compare. The backward ones are not eliminated, but the advanced ones are suppressed. What are your intentions? Don't tell me that it's for the national interest. It's disgusting. Let me tell you, Rema Group is in the best interest of the country to become bigger and stronger. You can't suppress me based on this. You'd better stop while it's still early. Well, boy, you've got guts. Ushanha got up and pointed at Charlotte's nose. I'm also telling you that the bank will raise your loan interest to the highest interest rate in the market. You can slowly pay back your loan. Also, don't think that everything will be fine after you pay back the loan. As long as I'm still in this position, you and your Rema group won't be at peace. Charlotte said disdainfully, If you have the guts not to buy my weapon, see if I can sell it all. Then let's wait and see. Ushanha walked out angrily. Wait. Fan suddenly stopped Ushanha. Chief Yu, didn't you just ask me what I'm doing here? I remember now. I'll tell you now. Ushanha looked back at Fan with a gloomy face. Fan opened her briefcase, then took out a red-headed document from the briefcase and handed it to Charlotte. I've already talked to the higher-ups. They also think that fully supporting Rema Group is in the best interest of the country. Our country doesn't have a world-class military enterprise like Rheinmetall or Lockheed Martin Corporation. The higher-ups asked me to pass on a message to you. Work hard and strive to develop Rema Group into a world-class military enterprise that can rival or even surpass Rheinmetall and Lockheed Martin Corporation. Win glory for the country and work for the country. Charlotte smiled. Please rest assured, Chief Fan. I promise to complete the task. Fan rolled her eyes at Charlotte. Don't talk nonsense with me. Let me tell you, the higher-ups have allocated a special reward fund for you. The amount is just enough for you to repay the loan. Hurry up and find the bank to settle the matter. Otherwise, the interest will be in vain. Then, she looked at Ushanha. Chief Yu, this is what I came to talk to Charlotte about. Do you understand now? Humph. You're very good. Ushanha was furious. He pointed at Fan and turned to leave. He had lost face in this place and didn't want to stay for another second. Song Baiching picked up the document again and left dejectedly. Yelena also left. Charlotte looked at the document in his hand and asked curiously, How did you get this reward fund? Fan smiled and said, acting cute. Don't you think I'm cute? Charlotte, of course this wasn't true. However, he was also very clear that Ushanha could use his power to suppress him and even get the bank to raise his loan interest rate. Fan also had a channel to get this reward fund. The so-called higher-ups were actually a very broad concept. Some people didn't support it and some people did. The game of interests could be as small as a family or a village, or as large as a country's temple. Whether it was in the east or the west, it was all the same. One last question. Why is your phone turned off? Fan looked very confused. Is my phone still turned off? I remember. I turned it off before I went to see the higher-ups. I forgot to turn it on when I came to you. Slap. Charlotte slapped her, and Fan's big white ball suddenly rippled. The feeling of slapping the ZN bureau chiefs, but was really not something that could be experienced by slapping other women's butt. Chapter 762. The loan problem was solved. Charlotte was relaxed. Rema Group also unloaded the heavy burden and could sprint forward at a brisk pace. The scavenger IFV also passed one test after another, and the data of each test was better than the international similar products. A comprehensive conclusion was that Rema Group's scavenger IFV was 15 years ahead of the most advanced IFV in service in Europe and the United States. This was a very amazing conclusion. Many people couldn't believe it, but the fact was the fact. Charlotte applied for patents on various technologies of the scavenger IFV and obtained more than 100 patents. Especially the core components processed by the Thunder Dragon intelligent machine tool, Lei Qing, which had various optimized designs, had become the world's most advanced tank engine. The scavenger IFV was 15 years ahead of similar products in Europe and the United States. Its role was very important and irreplaceable. As soon as the scavenger IFV completed the test, Charlotte was ready to send it to France to participate in the Villepinte International Army Weapons Exhibition. This year's Villepinte International Army Weapons Exhibition was over, and the next one would be held in 2 years. Charlotte was not willing to wait for another 2 years. The world's best tank, of course, had to appear in the world's largest army weapons exhibition and get the praise and territory that should belong to it. During this sensitive period, Charlotte couldn't go to France, but he sent Ryu Yeongnam. With Ryu Yeongnam and Ching Kai-wei responsible for the appearance of the Scavenger IFV, he was not worried at all that there would be any mistakes in this matter. At the Capital International Airport, the Scavenger IFV slowly drove into the cabin of the military transport plane. Next to the Yun-20 military transport plane, Xia Shui pulled Ryu Yeongnam's hand and was reluctant to let go. Ryu Yeongnam said with some embarrassment, "Don't be like this. Be obedient. Elder brother is still next to us. If he sees it, he will laugh at us." Charlotte had actually been watching. In his eyes, Xia Shui and Ryu Yeongnam were a very compatible couple. His sister could find her other half and a good home. He was very happy. "When you go to France, wear more clothes. Don't catch a cold," Xia Shui exhorted. Charlotte couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Xiao Shui, can you not be so mushy? I don't know how Masato feels, but I'm already covered in goosebumps." Xia Shui glared at Charlotte. "Brother, if you say it again, I will ignore you." Charlotte snorted disdainfully. Such a threat was meaningless to him. "All right, I'm leaving," Ryu Yeongnam said, his face already red. "Kiss me." Xia Shui raised her neck slightly, and the sun shone on her face. Her face was bright and beautiful. Ryu Yeongnam squinted at Charlotte, feeling extremely awkward. No matter how thick-skinned Charlotte was, he was too embarrassed to continue watching. He turned around. "Kiss or not?" Xia Shui said coquettishly, "No, don't kiss me in the future." This was a very severe punishment. Ryu Yeongnam didn't dare to have any hesitation. He hugged Xia Shui's neck and kissed her cherry lip. Xia Shui moaned, and her whole body softened in Ryu Yeongnam's arms. A minute passed. The scene of the two kissing was too beautiful. He couldn't bear to look at it. Cough. Charlotte really couldn't stand it. All right. Are you guys done?" The lovers who were kissing then separated. Xia Shui's face was red, and so was Ryu Yeongnam's face. "Brother, I'm leaving," Ryu Yeongnam said to Charlotte. Charlotte nodded. "Go and do your job. When you come back, I will pick a good day for you." "Brother, I won't marry," Xia Shui said. Charlotte smiled and said, "When I said I'll pick a good day for you, does it mean I'll let you get married? Really, do you want to get married that badly? I mean to let Masahiro's parents meet with his father, and then pick a day for you to get engaged." I'm ignoring you." Xia Shui suddenly pouted. "Ah." Charlotte laughed and bent over. Xia Shui rushed over, and Yang Qi punched Charlotte with her fist. Charlotte ran away, and the track was filled with his laughter. 1 day later, Villepinte International Exhibition Center in Paris, France. A large group of reporters, executives and engineers from European and American military enterprises, and businessmen from all over the world flocked to the exhibition hall of Rema Group. At the beginning of this International Army Weapons Exhibition, many people were laughing at Rema Group for only having 3 kinds of light weapons to participate in the exhibition. But before it was over, Rema Group shipped their own tank. For the Western media and Western military enterprises, this was no longer a matter of a tank coming to the exhibition. This was a provocation for them, a signal sent by Rema Group to them. The wolf is coming. The Sweeper infantry fighting vehicle was parked in the center of the exhibition hall. Its shape was sci-fi and its aura was strong. It gave people a cold feeling. But this wasn't what was really eye-catching. What was really eye-catching and surprising was the introduction about it. At a speed of 100 kilometers per hour, it was equipped with a 30mm machine gun developed and manufactured by Rema Group, fixed Hellhound artillery, heavy machine guns, reactive armor, and defense systems. Whether it was speed, firepower, or defense, its various indexes were better than the infantry fighting vehicles in service in Europe and the United States. A question also emerged in front of the Western media and visitors. How could China, which lagged behind Europe and the United States in all fields, produce an infantry fighting vehicle that surpassed Europe and the United States? It was important to know that building a tank was not the same as making a gun. Making a gun was nothing more than the production of parts and mechanical design, but building a tank required hundreds of thousands of technologies, especially engine technology, fire control system, and defense system. So far, China couldn't even produce a decent car engine. How could they produce such advanced tank engines? No one could understand this problem, and no one was willing to accept this fact. How is this possible? In the crowd, Mark Amin's face was full of disbelief. I estimate that it will take at least a year for Rema Group's infantry fighting vehicle to come off the production line. Even if they can produce infantry fighting vehicles, their overall performance will be at least 20 years behind us. But looking at the overall performance of this infantry fighting vehicle, they actually surpassed us by at least 15 years. Isn't this a joke? I don't know about other things, but they can't make the tank engine. Is it an imported tank engine from Russia? A senior engineer from Rheinmetall said, or Ukraine. According to the information I received, Rema Group's tank engine did import some parts from Russia and Ukraine, but not all of them. Only some basic parts. In addition, Rema Group also purchased some parts from the domestic processing market in China. The core parts are produced by Rema Group themselves. A woman's voice sounded. Mark Amin looked over and saw a beautiful face. She had the exquisite facial features and delicate skin of an Eastern woman, but also the blue eyes and facial curves unique to European and American women. This woman was Mai Hattori, the chief assistant of Lockheed Martin Corporation's CEO, Ms. Forson. Lockheed Martin Corporation was the arms giant in the United States. Not only did it have its own intelligence network, but it could also share relevant information with the CIA's intelligence network. She obviously knew more and more details than Mark Amin. Miss Bailier, do you mean that Rema Group developed their own tank engine? Mark Amin didn't want to believe that Rema Group already had such strength. He believed that Rema Group could make the best gun in the world, but he didn't believe that Rema Group could make the best tank in the world. Mr. Mark Amin, I know you don't want to believe it. In fact, I don't want to believe it either, but this is the truth. Mai Hattori said, Rema Group is here. Our Lockheed Martin Corporation and your Rheinmetall should unite. As for what to do, I think Mr. Mark Amin should be very clear about it, right? At this time, Qin Kaiwei appeared, and a large group of reporters immediately surrounded her. Miss Qing, may I ask if this tank is the one developed and produced by your Rema Group? Of course, I remember you. At the beginning of this exhibition, you said that our group could only produce light weapons and didn't deserve to participate in such an exhibition hall. Now I want to tell you that this is the best tank in the world. Your European and American tanks can't compare. Women were vengeful. Qin Kaiwei actually remembered that she had ridiculed the little reporter from Rema Group. If Charlotte was here, he really didn't know whether to say that she had a good memory or was narrow-minded. You said that your tank is the most advanced in the world. How can you prove it? A reporter said. It's very simple. Our chairman Xia said that we welcome similar products from any company to compete. The one who spoke was Ryu Yongnam. His face was full of confidence. If you can contact the relevant companies, whether it's Rheinmetall or Lockheed Martin Corporation, we are willing to accept the challenge. After all, we are the best. Such words immediately caused a wave of discussion. Directly challenging the two world-class arms giants, Rheinmetall and Lockheed Martin Corporation. This was Charlotte's idea and also a business strategy. Whether Rheinmetall and Lockheed Martin Corporation accepted the challenge or not, Rema Group would receive a certain amount of attention. If they didn't accept the challenge, the media would naturally exaggerate and say that these two companies were afraid to fight. If they accepted the challenge, it would be even better. The Scavenger IFV was 15 years ahead of similar products in Europe and the United States. Its huge performance advantage could allow it to win an overwhelming victory. At that time, Rema Group didn't need to spend a penny on advertising. The world would also know the existence of Rema Group and the Scavenger IFV. Isn't that Mr. Mark Amin, the chairman of Rainmetal? A sharp-eyed reporter found Mark Amin standing in the crowd. He walked over and handed over a microphone. "Mr. Mark Amin, may I ask?" Before the annoying reporter finished speaking, Mark Amin turned around and left. The reporter wanted to speak but was stopped by his bodyguard. The same thing happened to my Hattori. "Miss Bailey, Rema Group has issued a challenge. Can you say something on behalf of Lockheed Martin Corporation?" A reporter asked my Hattori. "Challenge Lockheed Martin Corporation? You really dare to think, but I want to tell you that Rema Group from China is not qualified at all. Have you ever seen a lightweight fighter who just entered the boxing world challenge a heavyweight world champion? I personally disdain such a challenge." My Hattori left these words and turned to leave. Her bodyguard also stopped the reporters who came to pester her. Walking out of the exhibition hall, my Hattori took out her mobile phone. "Father, I think you should bring people from Mitsubishi Heavy Industries to see Rema Group's Scavenger IFV." Chapter 763. The Scavenger IFV was in the limelight at the Villepinte International Army Arms Exhibition in Paris, and the domestic and foreign media were scrambling to hype it up. Charlotte, Rema Group, Scavenger IFV, Hellhound Artillery, XL 2500 Sniper Rifle, and Gale Assault Rifle became the hot topics of major search engines. The popularity of the name Xia Lei had already surpassed that of many of the currently popular celebrities. For a time, it was unparalleled. This was a good thing, but Charlotte was not happy. Night Masha had not called, and Amanda's satellite phone could not be reached. There was no progress in exchanging Amanda and Pu Taiyong for ransom. The longer it took, the more danger Amanda and Pu Taiyong would be in. With such a burden weighing down on his heart, how could he be happy? Still no news. Charlotte asked Yelena in the office. Yelena said, "Don't worry, Dad is already thinking of a way." "What can he think of?" Yelena said, "Don't forget, Dad still has 5 people in his hands. If I'm not wrong, I'm afraid they've already started." "Those 5 people were. Who are those 5 people?" Yelena stretched out a finger and shook it. "It's not that I don't want to tell you, but I really don't know much." "How is that possible?" "It's not complicated. I know Pig, but it's just the old Evgenia. You know her, Liang Xiao killed her. Now someone has taken over Pig's position, but I don't know who that person is." "What about the snake, rat, monkey, and dog?" Yelena said, "The 4 of them almost never act with us, but I know Dad always gives them some very difficult tasks." "Can you tell me everything you know?" Charlotte said. "Okay." Yelena said, "Rat is Japanese, proficient in hiding, assassination, and poisoning. He's a very powerful killer." "You're not telling me he's a ninja, are you?" "You can think of it that way. Her name is Akiko Tsukino." "A woman? Are you surprised? She might even be a beauty." Yelena said. "Charlotte, Monkey is an Indian. His name is Angumi Khan. He is a sharpshooter. He can shoot a flying fly with his pistol. The dog was from Iraq. His name was Syamu Almajid Altakrit. Syamu was his name, followed by his father's and grandfather's names, which could be ignored. He was an intelligence expert. Dad's eyes and ears are his. A lot of the information I provided you before came from him. The last one is Snake." "I'm sorry." Yelena paused for a moment before continuing. "He's probably the most mysterious member of our Zodiac team. I've never seen him before, and I don't even know his name." Although they hadn't met, Charlotte already had a general impression of him. Monkey was Angumi Khan from India. Monkey was agile and a sharpshooter. Even a fly couldn't escape from his shooting. His characteristics matched the characteristics of a monkey. The dog was Siamu from Iraq. He was the intelligence expert of the entire Zodiac team. Dog's eyes and ears were extremely sensitive. He could see in all directions and listen in all directions. He was good at tracking information. This also matched Dog's characteristics. Rat is Tsukino Akiko from Japan. It is not known whether she is a real ninja or not, but she is good at hiding, assassination, and poisoning. She is really a rat, which matches the characteristics of Rat. Pig still didn't know his identity. Snake. Even Yelena hadn't seen him before. He was obviously the most mysterious member of the Zodiac team. "Don't tell Dad that I told you. He said he wouldn't tell you this for the time being," Yelena said. Charlotte smiled. "It's fine. It doesn't matter if I know or not. But since you said so, I won't say anything. If Amanda and Pu Taiyong knew that you were going to ransom them with $50 million, they would definitely be very moved." Yelena looked at Charlotte. "If one day I fell into the hands of the FA organization, would you use that much ransom to save me?" "Of course, but I don't want anyone else to fall into the hands of the FA organization," Charlotte said. Yelena sighed. "Bagu and Marcus are dead. We have 2 less people. If Pig is dead, there will be people to fill in. If Bagu and Marcus are dead, who will fill their positions?" Not knowing why, Charlotte suddenly thought of Qin Xiang and Lu Xing. Qin Xiang was a godly thief and agile. She could probably fill in for Bagu's position, which was the role of sheep. Lu Xing was a martial artist. It was very suitable for him to replace Marcus' position, which was the role of a bull. However, he could only think about it. He didn't want Qin Xiang and Lu Xing to live a life of bullet. Footsteps came from outside the door, and then Liang Xiao appeared at the door. Yelena said, "Chairman Xia, I'll go out first." "All right, you go do what you need to do," Xiaolei said. The 2 women, one going out and the other going in, glanced at each other when they passed by, but neither of them greeted the other. Moreover, Yelena's eyes were filled with hostility. "She doesn't seem to like me," Liang Xiao said. Yelena didn't like Liang Xiao and was even hostile. That was naturally because of Yevgenia. Charlotte was very clear about this, but he couldn't tell Liang Xiao. "That's her temper. Don't mind it. Sit down. What would you like to drink?" Liang Xiao smiled faintly. "Tomato and pork ribs soup." Charlotte smiled and said, "I only have tea and red wine here. I also have coffee, but I don't have tomato rib soup. If you want to drink tomato rib soup, make it at home. Why did you come to my office to drink tomato rib soup?" Liang Xiao's eyes flashed a trace of resentment. "You used to cook for me. I liked to drink the tomato rib soup you stewed for me. You were so good to me at that time. Do you remember those things?" Of course, Charlotte remembered, but his heart ached slightly when he thought about it. If it weren't for her betrayal, he and her children would have crawled all over the floor, right? What was the point of her mentioning those past events now? A broken mirror is hard to repair, and spilled water is hard to retrieve. I'm kidding. I'm not thirsty. I don't want to drink anything." Liang Xiao changed the subject. "I came to talk to you about that." Charlotte's heart skipped a beat. "You found out?" Liang Xiao looked back at the door of the office, and then her gaze fell on the door of the lounge. "Let's go to your lounge to talk." "My office." Charlotte wanted to say, "There's nothing wrong with my office," but Liang Xiao didn't wait for him to finish and walked to his lounge. He smiled bitterly and followed her in. There was a faint smell in the lounge. It wasn't the smell of perfume or air freshener, but the smell of olive oil. The lounge was very messy, and the quilt was wrinkled. There were slippers here and there. There were basic magazines on the coffee table, but they weren't neat either. There was a magazine here and there, giving off a messy feeling. Look, your place is as messy as a pig's nest. Liang Xiao sniffed with her nose and her expression showed a hint of suspicion. What's that smell? It was the smell of Fanfan's antidote. Of course, Charlotte wouldn't tell her this secret. He coughed and said, I ate a bowl of cold noodles here last night. It's probably the smell of cold noodles. Really, there's no woman to help you clean up. Let me help you. Liang Xiao rolled her eyes at Charlotte and started to clean up Charlotte's lounge. It's okay, I'll get a cleaning lady to come and clean up later, Charlotte said awkwardly. Liang Xiao obviously wouldn't listen to him. She quickly tidied up the magazines on the coffee table and put the slippers under the bed. Finally, she grabbed the corner of the quilt and shook it, preparing to tidy up the quilt for Charlotte. But with that shake, a black lace fell out of the quilt, and it was the original kind. The black lace flew in the air for some distance before falling to the ground. Both of their gazes were focused on it. One was awkward and nervous, and the other, whose is it? Liang Xiao's gaze moved from the underwear to Charlotte's body. Charlotte shook his head with a serious expression. I don't know. Your bed. Don't you know which woman left her underwear on the bed? Of course, Charlotte knew that the last woman he slept with was Fanfan, but he didn't know why Fanfan left her lace on the bed. He couldn't help but curse in his heart. What a wastrel! When she left, didn't she know what she was wearing? Forget it. Liang Xiao's expression darkened. She smiled bitterly and said, Who am I to you? I have no right to interfere in your private life. Charlotte didn't know what to say. Forget it. Since you don't know who it belongs to, I'll throw it away for you. Liang Xiao went to pick up the black lace. Charlotte suddenly thought of something. He rushed forward, grabbed the black lace, and threw it out of the window. If Liang Xiao took it away, there was a 70% chance that she would do a DNA test on the black lace. If she found out that the underwear belonged to Fanfan, it would be a headache. You! Liang Xiao glared at Charlotte. Xiao Lei shrugged. Can't you just throw it away and be done with it? Let's get down to business. What did you find? At this moment, Qin Xiang's voice suddenly came from downstairs. Who the F***CK? Who threw this thing at my head? Come out, I promise I won't beat you to death. Charlotte. Liang Xiao wanted to laugh, but the corners of her mouth were full of bitterness and sadness. She was silent for a moment before saying, I found some clues. What clues did you find? I don't believe that the Tang family betrayed you and Tang Yuyan, and I don't believe that it was the people around you who betrayed you. If you die, who will benefit the most? The Tang family wants you and Tang Yuyan to get married. It's obviously not in their interest to betray you and let you die. I don't need to doubt the people around you. I trust them completely, and your death will not benefit them at all. So, whoever benefits the most from this matter is the most suspicious. Who would benefit the most from his death? Charlotte didn't need to think deeply to know who it was. You've guessed it, right? Charlotte nodded. But do you have any evidence? No. Liang Xiao said. I looked at the surveillance video of the day you came back. I saw Yushanha stay at the door for 2 minutes when he left. He stayed for 2 minutes? Yes, he was looking at the document I showed you. But this is obviously a loophole, because he must know all the contents of the document. You didn't sign it, so why did he stand in the aisle for 2 minutes and look at it? There's only one explanation, and that is to eavesdrop on your conversation with Boss Sure. Remember, did Boss Sure talk to you about what mission you were going to Shi Province to carry out at that time? Charlotte's mind replayed the scene at that time, and then he nodded. With Yu Shanha's identity, even if he heard the conversation between you and Boss Sure, he wouldn't be the one to directly leak the information. So, I secretly investigated Yu Shanha's men, and I found one person. Who? Song Baiqing. Liang Xiao said, the night before you and Tang Yuyan left, he went to a Japanese restaurant. I don't have the surveillance video in that restaurant, but it's not normal. Charlotte thought for a moment. You don't have to worry about this matter. It's okay if it's Song Baiching, but if it's Ling Hao and Yushanha, you can't afford to offend either of them. Let me deal with this matter. You care about me? Liang Xiao looked at Charlotte affectionately. Did the woman's black lace affect her? Not at all. Charlotte was silent. He could design the world's most advanced chariot, but he couldn't design an ideal love life. Chapter 764. The handsome ones had woken up, while the beautiful ones were still sleeping. Charlotte, who was neatly dressed, looked back at Sylvia and Anina, who were still sleeping in bed, and his heart was filled with tenderness and tranquility. For Lei Qing of the Rema group, they had been really exhausted. Let them have a good rest. Recalling the passionate and absurd experience of the previous night, he felt a trace of pride in his heart. In the past, he had to work very hard to deal with the two German women, and he was always exhausted. But now, he could do it with ease. His previous conjecture about his ability evolving had become a fact, but he still felt quite speechless. Walking out of Sylvia and Anina's room, Charlotte saw his father, Xia Changhe, who was feeding the koi fish by the pond. He walked over and called out, "Dad." Xia Changhe nodded. "Are you going to the company?" Charlotte said, "Yes, I got some artificial intelligence technology from the Japanese. It's not convenient for me to go out for a while, so I can sort out those things and see if they can be used in our production. Have you ever thought that the more advanced the weapons you make, the more the Americans and the Japanese will want to get rid of you? The West and Japan have imposed a technology blockade on China for decades, and this blockade has not been lifted until now, but you have disrupted their layout and messed up their entire plan. You are playing the role of a spoiler, and you are destroying their strategic interests. If you continue on this path, you will face more and more challenges. Is this really what you want?" Charlotte smiled. "Dad, what are you trying to say?" "You know what I'm talking about," said Xia Changhe. "I know that because of me, you lived a poor life for a while. But now you have tens of billions of yuan, and the money you earn is more than we can spend in several lifetimes. Have you never considered stopping? Stopping? If I can get peace and safety by withdrawing now, I will consider it. However, you know very well what they want, so even if I don't develop in the military field, the Americans will not let me go, and neither will the FA organization. If I stop now, I won't be able to exchange for peace, nor will I be able to exchange for peace. I will only cripple my own martial arts." Xia Changhe remained silent. Charlotte said again, "Dad, life is only a few decades or 100 years. You can live a life of luxury, but you can also live a life of plain tea and plain food. I don't care how much money I make, and I don't care how many years I can live in peace. Our nation has been bullied by the West for centuries. This land is soaked with blood and humiliation. Aren't we Chinese still discriminated against when we travel? I am not an extreme patriotic youth, but I have the ability, and I want to do something for this country and people. If I did nothing, I would be wasting my talents. When I'm old and can't do anything, I'll definitely regret it." Xia Changhe sighed. "I didn't teach you any patriotic ideas, but you love this country and people so much. Now that you mention it, I feel like I'm getting old, and my courage has shrunk. Perhaps these peaceful and comfortable days have made me timid. Well, no matter what you want to do, I will support you." "Dad, why did you suddenly think of persuading me to stop? What happened?" Charlotte was a little confused. Xia Changhe smiled bitterly. "Nothing can be hidden from you, boy. I already know who sold you and Tang Yuyan out." Charlotte was stunned for a moment. "Who?" "Yushanha's man, a guy named Song Baiching. Although it was Song Baiching who did it, he must have been instructed by Song Baiching or Ling Hao." Charlotte felt strange in his heart. "Liang Xiao told me the same thing, but because there was no evidence, I didn't tell him." "How did he know?" "Yushanha is a big shot. The better you do in the military industry in the country, the more people's interests will suffer. They can't tolerate you. There are strong enemies on the outside and troubles on the inside. Our Xia family is not a big family. We are weak and we only have you to support us. You can imagine the pressure you have to face. I thought of these dangers, so I thought of asking you to stop. Charlotte was silent for a moment, then said, Dad, how do you know about this? Of course I have my channels. Tiger came back last night and I asked him to go to the Japanese restaurant. He stole the surveillance video of the restaurant. When you go to the company, Tiger will give it to you. You'll understand after you see it. Dad, don't ask, go to work. Xia Changhe began to feed the koi in the pond. He threw the feed into the pond, and the koi in the pond scrambled for it, stirring the pool of blue water. Charlotte's lips moved, and he wanted to say something, but he didn't say it in the end. He turned and left. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot something. Xia Changhe's voice came from behind. Tang Yunhai invited me to Sichuan for tea. Sichuan is a rich country, and I have never been there. I want to see it. Charlotte's footsteps suddenly froze, and then he looked back at his father. Dad, why do you want to go to the Tang family in Sichuan? Didn't I tell you to drink tea? Tang Yunhai invited his father to drink tea, just to drink tea? Charlotte was a little confused, and he said with a wry smile, Dad, you can drink tea, but don't agree to anything else. Xia Changhe smiled. What do you want me to not agree to? Well, marriage or something. You mean that girl Tang Yuyan? I actually think she's not bad, she's well educated, smart, and also from a prestigious family. You're not young anymore, you can't always not get married. If you don't get married, how can I hold a grandson? You've earned so much money, who are you going to keep it for? Charity? The more Xia Changhe said, the angrier he got. He suddenly grabbed a handful of fish feed and threw it at Charlotte. Charlotte jumped away, turned around and ran. Dad, I've told you, you can't agree. If you agree, you find a way to solve it yourself. Whoosh! Another handful of fish feed flew out from Xia Changhe's hand. Brat, do you want to piss me off? You're my only son, and if you don't agree, where can I find another son? Charlotte has already run out of sight. Xia Changhe sighed. There was no parent in the world who did not worry about their children's marriage. Even a secret agent father like him was no exception. Ring ring ring, ring ring ring, his phone suddenly rang. Xia Changhe took out his phone and answered the call with a smile on his face. Oh, Elder Tang, my flight in the afternoon. Yu Yen is coming to pick me up? How can I accept that? All right. Goodbye. Charlotte did not know about this phone call. Walking to the entrance of the Thunder Horse Army factory, Charlotte saw Erdemo in the guard room. He walked in. How's the matter at home? It's all taken care of. Erdemo handed a USB to Charlotte and lowered his voice. This is the surveillance video from the Japanese restaurant. They removed the hard drive and locked it in the safe. It took me a lot of effort to get it. Charlotte just nodded and left. Arriving at the office, Charlotte used the computer to open the video file in the USB. In the video, Song Baicheng was sitting in a private room enjoying Japanese cuisine. He was the only one in the private room. A minute later, Song Baicheng got up and left. There was a Japanese yen on a plate in front of him. It was a folded 1,000 yen note. After Song Baicheng left, a woman in a Japanese kimono came to clean up the tableware. She saw the 1,000 yen. She looked back, then picked up the yen and opened it. The yen was written, Tuvong Shi Province tomorrow. The Japanese word for Tuvong was the Chinese word for da. This sentence, which looked like Chinese, was actually Japanese that Japanese people could understand. The woman in the kimono put away the 1,000 yen and left the private room where Song Baicheng was eating without even having time to clean up the tableware. The video ended. Charlotte copied the video on the USB and picked up the phone on the table. He dialed Liang Xiao's number, but then hung up. His first thought was to tell Liang Xiao that he had found evidence. But when he thought about the people involved in this matter, he dismissed the idea. It was not a wise move to involve Liang Xiao in this. Charlotte dialed Sherborne's office number. "It's me, Mr. Sher." "Oh, it's you. I was just about to call you." It was Sherborne's voice. "Yu Yen has returned from Shi province. I gave her a week off. Don't you want to see her?" "Well, I'll be there." Xia Lei changed the subject. "Boss Sher, I have something very important to tell you." "Say it." Sherborne's tone suddenly became serious. "I found out who sold me and Yu Yen out." "You found out? Who?" Song Baiching. Charlotte said the name. Bang. Sherborne's angry voice came from the phone. "Damn it. A traitor who lives off one side while secretly helping another. I never thought it would be him. Do you have evidence?" "Yes, there is a video that is enough to prove his guilt," Charlotte said. "I will ask Long Bing to come and get it." Sherborne said angrily. "He is dead meat. Mr. Sher, this matter." Charlotte hesitated for a moment and said, "I am afraid it will involve Ling Hao and Yu Shanha." There was silence on the phone. Only Sherborne's heavy breathing could be heard. "Mr. Sher? This matter is very big and serious. But I promise you, no one can live a carefree life after betraying the country. Don't worry about this matter for the time being. Let's catch the person first." Sherborne said. "Okay." Charlotte hung up. Ling Hao and Yu Shanha were involved. This matter was indeed very big and serious. Sherborne's handling was also correct. First, he would not touch the mastermind behind the scenes. First, he would arrest the soldier who did the work, interrogate the truth, and grasp the evidence before making plans for the next step. While waiting for Long Bing to come and get the evidence, Charlotte took out the solid-state drive from Hattori Masao from his safe, connected it to his computer, and copied the contents to his computer hard drive. Then he browsed the copied content and unknowingly immersed himself in it. Many countries were researching artificial intelligence technology, but only the United States and Japan were doing well. The artificial intelligence technology of these two countries also represented the world's highest level. China was very backward in this regard. Many artificial intelligence technology in the production line relied on import. Once there was a failure, even maintenance had to rely on equipment suppliers. If I apply artificial intelligence technology to the production line of the Thunder Horse Army factory, not only will the output increase, but it will also save a lot of expenses. It's hard to find talent, but if artificial intelligence solves the problem of human resources, the Thunder Horse Army factory won't have to worry about the lack of personnel because of the rapid expansion. A very bold idea emerged in Charlotte's mind and slowly took shape. He continued to browse the artificial intelligence technology, and his mind kept on replaying the drawings he had seen in Hattori Masao's villa. Hattori Masao had given him 500 drawings, each of which was very complicated. A normal person would not be able to memorize even one, but he had memorized 500. After an unknown amount of time, a familiar voice woke him up from the artificial intelligence technology. "What are you busy with?" As soon as Charlotte looked up, he saw a beautiful face, but it was not Long Bing's, but Liang Xiao's. He was stunned for a moment. Didn't Sherborne say to send Long Bing? Why did he send Liang Xiao? "You look so good when you're working hard," Liang Xiao said with a smile. "Why are you here?" Charlotte said, "I called Boss Sher and he said to send Long Bing." Liang Xiao raised the corner of her mouth. "What, you don't like me coming? Then I'll go. I'll ask Boss Sher to send Long Bing that you like." "Stop it." Charlotte smiled bitterly. "I didn't mean that, but what? You have the evidence. What's the next step?" "Boss Sher asked me to arrest Song Baiching directly," Liang Xiao said. Charlotte grabbed the USB in his hand, got up and said, "I'll go with you." Chapter 765. The red BMW M6 sped on the road leading to the capital city. Liang Xiao watched the video on her laptop and then sent the video file back to the headquarters of Innings 101. She closed her laptop and looked at Charlotte, who was driving. "Well, tell me, why are you going with me to catch him?" "I'd better go with you. Song Baiching almost killed me. I want to catch him myself," said Charlotte. "Don't lie to me." Liang Xiao smiled bitterly. "I've been with you for so long. I know how many moles you have on your body. How can I not know what you think?" "Don't think about it. Let's catch him together and bring him back to Innings 101. Liang Xiao said. Mr. Shi first sent Long Bing, but when he knew that this matter might involve Ling Hao and Yu Shanhe, he sent me instead. Do you think I don't know why? In their eyes, I've always been in the CIA. I'm wearing CIA clothes, from my coat to my underwear. I can take off my coat, but can I take off my underwear? What kind of metaphor was this? Catching Song Baiching means starting a war with the forces represented by Ling Hao and Yu Shanhe. It's very dangerous for anyone to take the first shot. How could Mr. Shi let Long Bing be the cannon fodder? Then I'm the only one going. For them, I'm always an outsider, and an outsider with a disgraceful history. If I catch Song Baiching, I'll bear the brunt of the pressure from the other party. If I can't catch him, or even get killed, it's a good thing for them. Isn't it? Liang Xiao's heart was lonely and sad. Charlotte was silent for a moment before he said, "If you're not happy, you can resign. Come to my company and do anything. You care about me and don't want me to die. That's why you want to catch Song Baiching with me, right?" Charlotte smiled bitterly. That was what he was thinking, but he didn't want to talk about it. "Say something. Answer my question." Liang Xiao really wanted to know the answer. "How can I just watch you put yourself in danger? Even if we're still fellow disciples, how can I not care about you?" Charlotte said. A faint smile appeared on Liang Xiao's lips. "It's enough that you care about me and don't want me to die. It's not that I don't want to work at your company, but I have to stay at 101 Innings." "Why?" Charlotte was puzzled. "Back then, you went to Innings 101 for the sake of returning and the pardon order. You've already gotten it, so why did you stay there?" "For you." "Do you think everyone in 101 Innings is Long Bing and Tang Yuan?" "Charlotte, if I stay in 101 Innings, I can also be a mole for you. I might be able to play a big role at a critical moment." Charlotte was stunned for a moment. "Do you mean you want to be a mole for me? Have I not knelt down for you many times?" Those past events flooded his mind, and Charlotte's heart was also filled with melancholy and sadness. The better she was to him now, the worse he felt, and he couldn't face it. "Don't worry." Liang Xiao's hand landed on Charlotte's thigh. "I, Liang Xiao, am not someone who is easy to deal with, and I'm not someone who can be killed by anyone. I'll be fine. I just want you to understand that I came back to China for you, and I stayed in 101 Innings for you. As long as you can understand my heart, I'll be satisfied. Why are you still so good to me? I love you. I've always loved you. Is that enough of a reason?" Her hand on his thigh was trembling, and her grip was very tight, as if she wanted to enter Charlotte's body again through her nails and fingers, and enter his life. Her grip hurt him a little, but he still remained calm and let her do whatever she wanted. Other than that, what else could he say? Get back together? Thinking of his current messy love life, and his father who was going to Sichuan to have tea with Tang Yunhai, he couldn't help but have a headache. The atmosphere in the car became awkward, and there was a trace of sadness quietly flowing between the two of them. However, just as Charlotte didn't know how to face Liang Xiao, there was a car in front of him, and he hurriedly stepped on the brakes. The BMW M6 made an emergency stop. His body slid down, and Liang Xiao's body also crashed forward. It was unknown if it was out of instinct or for some other reason, but she reached out to grab him, and this grab just happened to grab onto that thing of his. Charlotte's body suddenly froze, and he forgot to drive. Liang Xiao also froze and forgot to let go. Their eyes met, and the two of them looked very complicated. Beep, beep, beep. The sound of the driver honking came from behind, and there was also the sound of someone cursing. Do you know how to drive? Is driving a BMW that awesome? I'll kill you. The two people in the car came back to their senses. Liang Xiao hurriedly let go of that hand. Her face was only a little red, and she didn't show any excessive shyness. After all, she was too familiar with Charlotte's place. It was just that she hadn't used it for a while, so she felt a little unfamiliar. Charlotte stepped on the accelerator, and the car started again and drove normally. His face also turned red, but it wasn't because of shyness, but because of embarrassment. After all, the place where the change happened was very obvious, and it couldn't be hidden even if he wanted to. The car that was just behind them caught up. The blond young man who was driving stuck his head out of the window and angrily scolded, "Damn it! Do you know how to drive? If you don't, I'll teach you." A young man wearing earrings, who was sitting in the passenger seat, stared at Liang Xiao and smirked. "Hey, girl! Don't follow that idiot, follow me, I'll take you to have fun." Wow! So hot. The blond young man who was driving also came to tease Liang Xiao. "Beauty, come with us, I promise you'll feel good." Charlotte originally didn't want to pay attention to these two hooligans. He could bear with it if they scolded him, but these two bastards actually came to tease Liang Xiao, and his heart was inexplicably angry. He stuck his head out of the window. "Get lost! Otherwise I'll cripple you two idiots." "Oh ho! He actually dares to scold us? Kill him! Damn it, hit him! His car is expensive, it's not a loss to hit him." The blond young man suddenly turned the steering wheel, and really drove his Chevrolet Cruze towards the BMW M6 that Charlotte was driving. Charlotte stepped on the brakes to avoid it, and the look in his eyes was very frightening. Liang Xiao looked at the angry Charlotte and suddenly giggled. She laughed so hard that she shook, and laughed very happily. Charlotte said gloomily, "I'm about to go crazy because of these two idiots, and you can still laugh? You haven't forgotten me at all. A man insulted me, and your reaction is so strong. In your subconscious, you still think of me as your woman, right?" Liang Xiao said, unable to hide the smile at the corner of her mouth, but her eyes were filled with tears of joy. A woman's sixth sense was always so sharp and accurate, and this was something unexplainable. Charlotte smiled bitterly. "Can we not talk about this?" Before he could finish speaking, Liang Xiao suddenly leaned over and kissed his lips. A familiar woman, a familiar taste, this sudden kiss brought Charlotte back to Haizhu, back to the past. During the period when he was struggling to start his own business, Liang Xiao walked into his life and brought him a love that he didn't dare to think of before. He and her on the sofa, in the study, on her bed, releasing the passion and desire of youth again and again. "Hey! Damn it!" The blond young man appeared outside the car window and saw the man and woman in the car kissing. He cursed and punched at Charlotte's head. Charlotte raised his hand, and a viper pistol collided with the blond young man's fist. The fist was made of flesh, and the gun was made of iron. The blond young man's fist hit the muzzle of the gun, and he immediately cried out in pain, and his fist was bleeding. He thought it was a safety hammer or something, and his companion was ready to pull out a knife, but when he saw what was in Charlotte's hand, he immediately stopped and his face turned pale. Big brother, we had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. You are a great man, please forgive us. The blond young man couldn't even straighten his tongue. Kneel. Charlotte's eyes were terrifyingly cold. He was not fierce, but when he was fierce, the murderous aura that he had cultivated after killing hundreds of people was revealed, and it was very frightening. The two bullies knelt on the ground. Many passing cars on the road slowed down and looked at this scene. Fortunately, this was still the suburbs, not the downtown area, otherwise it would definitely cause panic. "Stretch out your faces, I'll slap each of you," and then I'll let you go," Charlotte said. The two bullies braced themselves and stretched their faces to the side of the car door. But just as Charlotte was about to slap them, Liang Xiao grabbed Charlotte's hand. "Forget it, let them go. They said that about you, and I'm helping you vent your anger. Why are you stopping me?" Charlotte asked. Liang Xiao smiled. "I have to thank them. If it wasn't for them, how would I know that you still care about me?" "Charlotte, you two still haven't scrammed," Liang Xiao shouted. Only then did the two hoodlums get up and run away in a panic. A woman's mind was really a strange thing. Just now, when those two bullies insulted her, she not only didn't get angry, but also looked very happy. Was the magic of love really so magical? Charlotte continued to drive the car to the capital city. Liang Xiao giggled for a while before she calmed down, and she tried to ask, "Lazy we? Are we reconciled?" Charlotte rolled his eyes at her. "How can it be so easy? The scars you left in my heart haven't healed yet. When they are healed, we can talk about this again. Then I'll rub your heart and let those scars heal quickly, okay?" Liang Xiao really reached out to rub Charlotte's heart. "Stop it, I'm driving, hey! I'm warning you, don't mess around." An hour later, the BMW M6 stopped in a high-end neighborhood. Xia Lei got out of the car and looked awkwardly at his crotch, which had a lump in it. As for the problem of getting back together, he was definitely against it, but that didn't stop his ex-girlfriend from working hard in that direction, which led to the current awkward situation. But he also understood her. Since he broke up with her, she hadn't been touched by a man, so it was normal for her to be a little out of control. Liang Xiao also got out of the car. Her face was red, and her eyes were watery. She seemed to be afraid to look at Charlotte, but she couldn't help but look. Since she returned to China, this was the happiest time for her. Although she didn't achieve what she wanted, she felt that at least there was progress. More importantly, she knew that she was still in Charlotte's heart. "Let's go to Song Baicheng's house," Charlotte said. "Well, let's go." Liang Xiao combed the hair on her forehead. The two of them walked towards an apartment building. Ring ring ring, ring ring ring, his cell phone rang. Charlotte took out his cell phone and glanced at it. It was Sher Boren's number. He hesitated for a moment, then hung up the phone. "Who's calling?" Liang Xiao didn't see it. "It's CEO Sher." Charlotte didn't hide it from her. "Why didn't you pick it up?" "He probably wants to persuade me to go back. I'm already here, how can I go back?" "Don't worry about it, let's go catch that guy." Charlotte put away his cell phone. A sweet smile appeared on Liang Xiao's face again. "You see, you still don't want to admit it? You're worried about me, you can't forget me at all, right?" "Yes, your head, let's go." Charlotte quickened his pace. Liang Xiao caught up with Charlotte's footsteps. "After we catch him, how about we go out for a drink tonight?" "I can't go out casually now," Charlotte said. "How about I come to your house?" "Charlotte!" Chapter 766. Song Baicheng's door was closed. When he came to the door, Charlotte's left eye twitched slightly. He used his X-ray vision to observe the situation in the room in advance. There was no one in the living room. The TV was turned on and a variety show was playing. There was no one in the kitchen on the left side of the living room. There was a pressure cooker on the gas stove. The pressure cooker was steaming, and they didn't know what was simmering. There was a corridor on the right side of the living room, and on the side of the corridor were 3 rooms side by side. The doors of the 3 rooms were also closed. At the end of the corridor was a balcony. The sliding glass door was open, and there was no one on the balcony. Just as Charlotte was about to improve his eyesight to see the interior of the 3 rooms, Liang Xiao had already opened the door with a tool. "He has a gun. Be careful. Follow behind me." Liang Xiao also pulled out a pistol and gently pushed the door open. This kind of thing should be done by a man, but she walked in front of Charlotte, putting herself in the most dangerous position. Charlotte wasn't a man who hid behind a woman. He dragged Liang Xiao behind him and then walked to the corridor. He pulled out a gun, his hands slightly bent, and maintained a shooting position. Liang Xiao didn't go in front of him again. She knew Charlotte's character and temper. As soon as he reached the first door, Charlotte stopped and put down the gun in his hand. Although he didn't open the door, he had already seen the situation in the room. Song Baiqing was lying motionless on the bed, wearing only a pair of underwear. But he was definitely not asleep, because there was no sign of his chest rising and falling. Even if he was asleep, people needed to breathe, and people's chests would rise and fall. In addition, his face also showed a blue color, which was definitely not a color that a living person should have. At this moment, Charlotte's heart was ignited with anger. He found out that it was Song Baiqing, but the other party immediately killed him to silence him. Once Song Baiqing died, how could this case continue? What was the use of the evidence in his hands? What happened? Liang Xiao asked softly. She couldn't see into the room. Only then did Charlotte come back to his senses. He was stunned for a moment before he suddenly slammed into the door. The door was slammed open. Liang Xiao rushed in with her gun. Charlotte also walked in. What's going on? Liang Xiao quickly discovered that Song Baiqing was already dead, and her face was filled with shock. Xia Lei suppressed his anger. Is there even a need to ask? Someone has already killed Song Baiqing before us and silenced him. Let's see if the murderer left any clues behind. Liang Xiao began to search the room. Charlotte was still standing by the bed, quietly watching Song Baiqing lying on the bed. There were no wounds on Song Baiqing's body, and there were no signs of strangulation on his neck. This kind of corpse could almost eliminate the possibility of gunshot, knife, or strangulation. The expression on his face was very serene, as if he had left this world in a dream without experiencing any pain. Charlotte's brows slightly furrowed. Song Baiqing was a person who had received special agent training, and his combat ability even exceeded that of a normal agent. To kill such a person, and to kill him without leaving a trace, how was that possible? Charlotte's gaze moved to Song Baiqing's stomach, and then he used X-ray vision to look at his stomach. Song Baiqing's stomach was very clean, and there was no food left inside. There was still something cooking in his kitchen, which also meant that he hadn't eaten. There were no injuries on his body, except for the possibility of death by a weapon. His stomach was empty, and there was no food or drug residue, which ruled out the possibility of death by drugs. Then, how did he die? Damn, the murderer didn't leave anything behind. Liang Xiao returned to Charlotte's side. With her training and experience, she didn't need to look for any traces bit by bit like an ordinary police officer. Charlotte smiled bitterly. We met a master. Who do you think it could be? Charlotte shook his head. I only know that whoever needs to kill him is the most suspicious, but it's hard to say who the killer is. I'll call Boss Sure. Liang Xiao took out her phone and dialed a number. Charlotte's gaze moved to Song Baiqing's head, and his left eye's vision was like a razor that shaved off Song Baiqing's hair, straight to his scalp. Song Baiqing's scalp was smooth, and there were no obvious wounds, but there was a purple birthmark on his head, which was the size of a dollar coin. Its shape was also round, very similar to the shape of a coin. Charlotte's gaze stopped on the purple birthmark, and he quickly found something strange. On the birthmark there was a trace of damage to a hair pore, and there was blood flowing out, but it was extremely difficult to find in the purple birthmark. Coupled with the hair covering the scalp, it was almost impossible for an ordinary person to find it. This discovery was obviously a breakthrough point. Charlotte's gaze locked on the pore, and the damaged pore was instantly pulled to his eyes, magnified 100 times. He saw the skin and subcutaneous tissue that had been damaged by a sharp object. The scene he saw was like a needle that had been fiercely stabbed into a piece of tofu. The needle had been removed, but the tofu had been stabbed by the needle. Then, he switched his left eye to the X-ray and microvision mode, and placed it on the pore, while entering Song Baicheng's brain bit by bit. The truth soon emerged in front of him. A very important artery in Song Baicheng's brain had been cut. It was a section of the brain artery, and his brain was filled with blood. This also explained why his face was purple. Charlotte secretly said in his heart, to kill someone in this way, 2 conditions must be met. The first is that the killer is very familiar with Song Baicheng, so that Song Baicheng was not on guard against him. The second condition is that the killer is extremely experienced and is a professional killer. So, who among the people around Song Baicheng meets these 2 conditions? Naturally, he thought of Ling Hao, but he quickly denied it. Ling Hao had never shown his skills. Even if he had received military combat training like Song Baicheng, it could not prove that he was the killer who killed Song Baicheng. And Ling Hao could not be an extremely experienced professional killer who met the second condition. Apart from Ling Hao, he did not know who the mysterious killer was. At this time, Liang Xiao called Shi Boren. She deliberately put it on speaker so that Charlotte could hear it. Boss Shi. As soon as the phone was connected, Liang Xiao said directly, I'm already at Song Baicheng's house, but what? He's dead. Liang Xiao said, the killer's technique is very clever. There are no traces left at the scene, and there are no wounds on Song Baicheng's body. Please send a forensic doctor to deal with Song Baicheng's body. Stay at the scene and don't move. Protect the scene. I'll send someone over right away. It was Shi Boren's voice. Got it, Boss Shi. Is Charlotte with you? Liang Xiao wanted to say something but stopped on second thought. Don't pretend. Give him the phone. I want to talk to him. There was a little anger in Shi Boren's voice. Liang Xiao shrugged and then handed the phone to Charlotte. Charlotte took the phone and said, Boss Shi, it's me. Go ahead. Shi Boren's voice came out of the phone. I asked you to stay in the Thunder Horse Army factory to protect you. Why did you go to Song Baicheng's house? Don't you think you've caused enough trouble? She's going to act alone. I'm a little worried about her, so I followed her. Besides, Song Baicheng almost killed me and Tang Yuyan. I want to catch him with my own hands. Charlotte said. I knew you would have a reason. Go back now, right now. Song Baicheng is dead. I want to help Xiao. Shi Boren interrupted Charlotte. This is an order. Okay, I'll go back right now. After that, Charlotte hung up the phone. Liang Xiao said, You go back first. I'll handle it here. Charlotte said, No, I'd better stay and wait for the forensic doctor to come. I want to know the results of the autopsy. But Boss Shi has already given the order. Are you going to disobey him? Liang Xiao looked at Charlotte with some worry. Charlotte smiled. His order is only useful to you. I don't care about his order. I disobeyed his orders. Can he still fire me? Liang Xiao shrugged. He won't fire you, but he will scold me. I'll be a servant no matter where I go. Charlotte. Because of this inexplicable sentence, the atmosphere in the room became awkward again, and it became quiet. Suddenly there were footsteps and voices outside the door. Mom, Dad said that he stewed chicken for us. He also said that he would take me to buy toys after dinner. Are you going with us? It was a little boy's voice. You only know how to eat and play. How can you be successful when you grow up? Don't forget that you have a piano class in the afternoon. You have to learn the piano. It was a woman's voice. Mom, I'm not going to learn the piano. I'm going to buy toys. Be a good boy. It was a woman's voice. Hey, why is the door open? In the bedroom, Charlotte and Liang Xiao looked at each other and then they quickly left the room. When they came out, they saw a middle-aged woman walking in with a 7- or 8-year-old boy. The woman had fair skin and was quite pretty. The little boy was chubby and looked very similar to Song Baicheng. There was no need to guess that the woman was Song Baicheng's wife, and the little boy was his son. The woman was stunned on the spot. However, a second later, she suddenly shouted, "Help! Arrest the thief!" "Don't shout." Liang Xiao walked up quickly. "We're not bad people. We're police." The woman suddenly saw the pistol in Liang Xiao's hand and suddenly screamed, "Help! Murder!" The little boy ran out of the door, crying as he ran, "Help! There are bad people!" Charlotte said, "Xiao, put away the gun. Let them scream." Liang Xiao put away the pistol. The woman suddenly thought of something and hurried to the bedroom. A few seconds later, there was a scream from the bedroom. "Baiqing! Baiqing! Wake up!" Chapter 767. Song Baiqing's woman cried her heart out. She was devastated. The police had not arrived yet, but the neighborhood security guards and a few neighbors had arrived. The fat boy who had escaped earlier had returned. A woman was holding him and not letting him go to the bedroom. He was still young, and seeing such a scene was not a good thing for his growth. The atmosphere of sadness spread in the house. Song Baiqing was not worthy of sympathy, but his woman and child were innocent. The woman had lost her husband, and the child had lost his father. The lives of the mother and child had changed forever. After crying enough, Song Baiqing's woman wanted to cover Song Baiqing with a blanket. Liang Xiao stopped her. "Don't move. You can't touch anything at the scene. He's already dead. Are you going to leave him naked like this? He's already gone. Can't you even cover him with a blanket?" The woman was very emotional. "You can do whatever you want after the forensic examiner examines the body, but not now. Get out. Don't stay at the scene. This is my home." The woman shouted at Liang Xiao. "If anyone wants to go out, it should be you." Liang Xiao frowned. "Get out. Otherwise, I won't be nice to you." "Who are you? You said you're the police. Show me your ID." The woman made a scene and reached out to grab Liang Xiao's clothes. The woman was no match for Liang Xiao at all. Liang Xiao grabbed her hand and dragged her out of the bedroom. The woman was crying and making a scene in the living room. A few neighbors also accused Liang Xiao of being rough. The scene was chaotic and noisy. This scene gave Charlotte a headache. He was also glad that Liang Xiao was by his side. Liang Xiao was a woman after all. It was fine for women to grab each other, but it would be inconvenient for him to do such a thing. Song Baiqing's woman was clamoring to see Liang Xiao and Charlotte's ID. Neither of them showed any ID. The people from floors 101 handling a case were two different things from ordinary police officers. If it was necessary, they could chase everyone in the room out without caring about their feelings. However, the two of them didn't do anything in the end. The mother and son were already pitiful and sad enough. If they did something like that, it would undoubtedly be rubbing salt into their wounds. The stalemate lasted for about a quarter of an hour before an unexpected situation occurred. The special agent and forensic doctor from 101 innings had not arrived yet, but a group of police officers had arrived. When the police arrived, Song Baiqing's woman cried and complained to the leading police officer. The neighbors also began to describe the situation. The police officer, who thought he understood the situation, walked up to Charlotte and Liang Xiao. "You said you are the police. Which district are you from? Can I have a look at your ID?" Liang Xiao and Charlotte didn't move. "They are not policemen, they are murderers." Song Baiqing's woman shouted. The leading police officer said sternly, "If you don't show us your identification, don't blame us for being impolite." Only then did Liang Xiao take out a National Security Bureau ID and hand it to the leading police officer. The police officer looked at Liang Xiao's ID and was immediately moved. His fierce aura also disappeared. Liang Xiao said, "Take your people and leave. This is not something you can handle." The leading police officer was a little hesitant. Just then, a few people came in through the door. The leading one was Ling Hao. Seeing Ling Hao, Charlotte suddenly had a doubt in his heart. Song Baiching is dead. How did Ling Hao know so quickly? And he came with someone. Ling Hao comforted Song Baiching's woman and walked to Charlotte. Charlotte, long time no see. Why are you here? Why are you here? Charlotte asked him the same question. Ling Hao said, I received the call and rushed here. This is really unfortunate news. Who called you? Charlotte asked. Ling Hao frowned and said, Charlotte, what do you mean? Are you investigating me? No, I'm just a little curious and want to know the answer. Charlotte said lightly. You want to know the answer? I want to know the answer. Why are you here? Ling Hao's eyes were cold. Charlotte said, I came to catch him. Why? What happened in Shi province has something to do with him. He leaked information to the Japanese. He committed the crime of treason. Xiaolei said. Bullshit. Song Baiching's woman seemed to be bitten by someone. She shouted crazily, Nonsense! You are slandering me. My husband is a good man, not a bad man. Charlotte did not talk back. He disdained to quarrel with a woman. Ling Hao just raised his hand and Song Baiching's woman shut up. Do you have any evidence? Ling Hao asked Charlotte. Of course, otherwise why would I come here to catch him? Charlotte said. Let me see. Who are you? Do I need to show you the evidence? Charlotte said. The corner of Ling Hao's mouth curled into a cold smile. Now that your wings have hardened, the way you speak is different from before. Well, I'm not interested in your so-called evidence. Song Baiching is my subordinate and also a member of our department. We have our own professionals to deal with this kind of thing, so we won't bother you too. Please leave this place. You want us to leave? What makes you think you can do that? Charlotte said coldly, and you are in such a hurry to let us leave. Is there any hidden reason? You'd better watch your mouth. Ling Hao's voice was a little angry. Liang Xiao said, What authority do you have to let us leave? I want you to leave now. Get out. Liang Xiao, you have no right to say such words to me. Ling Hao looked at Liang Xiao. Do you want me to dig out the things you did when you were in the CIA? You. Liang Xiao was so angry that she couldn't speak. Ling Hao ignored Charlotte and Liang Xiao and walked to Song Baiching's bedroom with the people who followed him. What are they going to do? Liang Xiao said. They are professionals in our department. They will find out the cause of Song Baiching's death and give him justice. Ling Hao said. Medical examiner? You can say that. No. Liang Xiao wanted to stop them. Charlotte grabbed her hand. Liang Xiao looked back at Charlotte and Charlotte shook his head. They. Liang Xiao wanted to say something but didn't. Xiaolei pulled her to a corner of the living room and whispered in her ear, Song Baiching and Ling Hao have been transferred to Yushanhe's department, and they've become people with military positions. It's an independent system. They have their own investigation agency and even their own court. They really have the right to investigate this matter. They are embezzling. Liang Xiao looked angry, but her voice was very low. Anyone with eyes can see that. Are we just going to let it go? Liang Xiao looked very unwilling. Charlotte said, Song Baiching is dead. No matter what evidence they have, it's useless. If you fight them head-on, you will suffer. Liang Xiao looked at Charlotte and her eyes softened. Did you let him go to protect me? Charlotte nodded. Based on his experience, Song Baiching's death meant the end of the incident in Shi province. No one would make a big deal out of this matter, and there would be no thorough investigation. The murderer would get away with it, and Ling Hao and Yushanhe would not be implicated. Liang Xiao was a woman who jumped ship from the CIA to innings 101. If she insisted on investigating, she would really become cannon fodder. And even if she paid all the price she could, all she could get was a meaningless result. It would not change anything at all. Leave this matter to CEO Shi. You don't have to interfere anymore, Charlotte said. Liang Xiao responded softly and then said, The murderer is getting away with it, and the people who betrayed you are getting away with it. I really don't want to accept this. It's not fair. Xiaolei said, there is no such thing as fairness in this world. I didn't expect to bring down people like Ling Hao and Yu Shanhe with Song Baiqing's death. However, this matter will not end here. One day, I will make them pay, but for now, this is all I can do. A man who does not take revenge is not a gentleman. It is never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. The agents and forensic doctors from Innings 101 arrived. But just as the forensic doctors from Innings 101 arrived, the professionals brought by Ling Hao also gave a preliminary autopsy result: cerebral hemorrhage. Charlotte saw Song Baiqing's body again. His hair had been kicked off. The person who shaved his hair was terrible, and there were many cuts on his scalp. The coin-shaped birthmark had 2 cuts, and the pores that had been pricked by the steel needle were also destroyed. In this way, Song Baiqing really met the characteristics of death from cerebral hemorrhage. After all, his brain was full of blood. Xiaolei was not surprised at all by such a situation. The forensic doctors from Innings 101 wanted to examine the body, but Song Baiqing's woman rushed up and pestered them, not allowing them to do a second autopsy. He's dead, and you want to do it a second time? Sob. What do you want? Baiqing. You worked hard when you were alive and served people. Sob. Now that you're gone, they even want to ruin your body. Song Baiqing's woman rolled on the ground and complained. Charlotte looked at Song Baiqing's woman and seemed to understand something. A sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. He had sympathized with this woman and her child before, but now he realized that he was too kind. A detail also resurfaced in his mind, and that was this woman was unreasonable to him and Liang Xiao, but Ling Hao just raised his hand and she calmed down. Just from this detail, he could conclude that this woman was very familiar with Ling Hao, and it was not an ordinary relationship. She's really good at acting. Who is she? Xiaolei quietly pondered in his heart, but he didn't open his mouth to ask. If he wanted to investigate this woman, it was not a wise choice to ask at this time, and it would alert the enemy. His better choice was Fanfan. Because of Song Baiqing's woman's interference, the medical examiner of Innings 101 was in a difficult position. They looked at Charlotte and Liang Xiao for help. Charlotte said, "That's it. Since the autopsy results are out, let's take them as the standard. Of course, this is just my personal opinion. If you need any instructions, you know who to ask." After that, he said to Liang Xiao, "Xiao, let's go." Liang Xiao nodded meekly and left with Charlotte. "Charlotte," Ling Hao called out to Charlotte, "as brothers, I have a message for you." Charlotte looked back at him and said, "Go ahead. Quit while you're ahead. Sometimes it's a good choice to retreat." Charlotte smiled and said, "Thank you, I also have a message for you. Go ahead. Sometimes it's better to abandon evil and do good." Ling Hao smiled and said, "Well said. Take care. Goodbye." Charlotte waved to Ling Hao and then left with Liang Xiao. The two men wanted to take each other's life, but on the surface they were still so polite. Liang Xiao felt strange. Chapter 768. It was late at night. It was autumn, and the night wind was chilly. There was an orange lamp, a bottle of red wine, and two people sitting opposite each other. It didn't matter what they ate. What mattered was the people and the warm and romantic atmosphere at the moment. Liang Xiao couldn't hide the smile on her face, and her heart was filled with joy. Looking at Charlotte under the light, she felt as if she had traveled through time and returned to the time when they were in Haizhu. At that time, Charlotte's career had just started. He didn't have much money and was reluctant to spend money, but he was willing to take her to eat high-end Western food and buy her a BMW M6 that was worth more than 2 million yuan. At that time, he loved her deeply and doted on her. Not only was he gentle and considerate, but he was also always trying to make her happy. But now, thinking of her current relationship with Charlotte, the smile on her face disappeared, and her heart was filled with melancholy and sadness. She wanted to make up with Charlotte, but it was easier said than done. She knew very well which women Charlotte had relationships with. The first question she needed to face was, would Charlotte break off his relationships with those women for her? Long Bing, Tang Yuyan, Shintu Tianyin, Jiang Rui, and the two German women. Each of these women had a story with Charlotte. They were no less important to Charlotte than her, and they were even more important. What right did she have to make Charlotte give them up to be with her? After drinking half a bottle of red wine, Liang Xiao's face became a little redder, and her dark eyes became a little tipsy. She stared straight at Charlotte, and her watery eyes seemed to want to swallow Charlotte into her stomach. Charlotte was a little unnatural under her gaze. You've drunk enough, so let's not drink anymore. Don't drive after drinking. Just stay here for the night. Liang Xiao pursed her lips and smiled. Are you hinting something to me? Hint your head. I'll have someone arrange a room for you, Charlotte said as he got up. Liang Xiao's legs suddenly stretched out from under the table and stepped on Charlotte's foot. She had no shoes on her feet, only a thin layer of black silk stockings. The combination of the soft and delicate soles and the smooth and delicate stockings was like a delicacy, making people unable to help but have a certain appetite. Senior sister's legs were the most beautiful legs Charlotte had ever seen, and he had done many bad things to her legs. Now that he was suddenly touched by her, the image of her beautiful legs suddenly appeared in his mind. They were well-proportioned, slender and straight, and her skin was as white as jade. When she closed them, there was no gap in the middle. If matched with black stockings, it would simply be the best in the legs, a stunning beauty in the world. Alcohol could excite a man's adrenaline, but it could also excite a woman's hormones. Liang Xiao was obviously the latter, but it happened to be the former. The atmosphere at the table suddenly became ambiguous. Although the two did not speak and looked very quiet, there seemed to be a wave of peace flowing between the two. It was like a spark that set the prairie ablaze. There was a bright red cigarette butt by the side of Parkour. Who knew when it would cause a fierce fire? How difficult would it be to rekindle old feelings? Sometimes it only needed a gentle tease. Just like now, it slowly climbed up his calf, and then climbed up his thigh. Her jade-like feet were like a beautiful snake looking for a snake's nest. She quietly passed through the gaps between the trees and then hid in the bushes. Xia Lei immediately frowned, but it was not because of any discomfort. Instead, it was because his body had turned on its own mode, and a certain part of it was no longer under his brain's control. He was very clear about that guy's character. It must want to do something. However, this was something that his brain and his rationality did not allow him to do. This kind of situation made him feel awkward and uncomfortable. Liang Xiao thought that Charlotte would stop her, but he did not. He sat in front of her like a block of wood. She liked this kind of reaction from the man in front of her. She took it as a tacit agreement, a chance to repair their relationship, so the beautiful snake was even more unscrupulous. Xiao, don't do this, Charlotte still had a trace of reason, but his body was surrendering to the woman in front of him. Lazy, after breaking up with you, I've been in a lot of pain. If you give me a chance to start over, I will never betray you. Give me a chance, take me. Her eyes were burning with flames. Xiao, give me a little more time. No, I won't give it to you. I want you now. Charlotte, I didn't ask you to propose to me, and I didn't ask you to marry me. I just don't want to be so lonely. Can't I do this? In addition to the burning fire in her eyes, there were also tears. He didn't know if her pitiful confession had softened his heart, or if the naughty, beautiful snake had conquered his body, but at this moment, his psychological defense suddenly collapsed. He suddenly stood up, and with one move, he flipped the plates and wine bottles on the dining table to the ground. The plates, bottles, and wine glasses all crashed to the ground. Liang Xiao also suddenly stood up, and with the support of her hands, she climbed onto the dining table. The distance between the two disappeared in an instant, and two soft and delicate lips also overlapped. There were no words, only fiery passion, and clumsy and wild body language. The black stockings were torn. The black cotton fabric was also crooked. Do. At this critical moment the phone suddenly rang. Charlotte's body suddenly stopped moving. He knew very well which phone was ringing. It was the satellite phone used to contact the Zodiac team. "I'm sorry, I'm going to take a call." Charlotte turned to leave, but after taking 2 steps, his pants fell on the back of his feet. He hurriedly pulled up his pants and awkwardly walked to the door of the restaurant. The woman who was lying on the dining table stared at Xiaolei's back. She even had the thought of banging her head against the wall. Walking out of the restaurant, Charlotte picked up the phone. "It's me, Charlotte." Yamosa's voice came from the satellite phone. "Are you ready for the $50 million? I've been ready for a long time. When will the deal be made?" "Tomorrow." "What place?" "Russia, Siberia." Charlotte frowned. "Why do you want to make the deal in Siberia?" "I don't need to explain anything to you. Come here alone tomorrow before 6 o'clock. If you bring one more person, I'll kill Amanda and Pu Taiyong." Charlotte was silent. Yamosa only asked him to make the deal alone, and the location was also in the desolate Siberia. It was clearly a trap waiting for him. If he went, what awaited him would be more dangerous than the western province. Charlotte was silent for a moment before saying, "Another time, another place. My people will make the deal with your people. I won't give you a penny less than $50 million. I promise you that you will get the money, and there will be no problems." "That's not impossible," Yamosa said. "You can decide the time and place, but it can't be in China." "Okay, then let's make the deal in Palestine, Peshawar, at 6 o'clock tomorrow." "I agree, but I want to receive the $30 million in advance now." "How can you do that?" Charlotte refused flatly. "I've shown my sincerity. Don't push your luck." "Are you threatening me?" Yamosa laughed. Her laughter was cold. "Charlotte, I'll give you 10 minutes to transfer $30 million into my designated account. If you're 1 minute late, this deal will be over. I'll cut off your people's heads, but I'll send you their ears as a souvenir." "How dare you?" Charlotte gritted his teeth. "You have 9 minutes," Yamosa's voice said. "Maybe you don't need this time. Do you want me to kill Amanda and Pu Taiyong now?" Charlotte's threat had no power at all, but Yamosa's threat was real, because she held the lives of Pu Taiyong and Pu Taiyong in her hands. No matter how ruthless Charlotte was, he couldn't hurt a single hair on Yamosa's head, but Yamosa only needed to pull the trigger to kill Amanda and Pu Taiyong. "Well, it seems that you're worried about your money. I'm too lazy to make a deal with you. I'll kill them now." Yamosa's voice came from the satellite phone. "Bring those 2 out and behead them." "Wait." Charlotte suppressed the anger in his heart. "Send me your account number. I'll transfer you $30 million. But I want to talk to Amanda and Pu Taiyong." "No problem." Yamosa's voice. Liang Xiao walked out of the restaurant. She looked at Charlotte from afar and didn't walk over. The cold moonlight shone on her body. She had the temperament of a martial artist that other women didn't have, the beauty of a martial artist. But she didn't seem to notice that her collar was open, and even her bra was exposed. There was also her stockings. The tear extended all the way to the inside of her knees. Her snow-white skin was exposed to the air without any cover. She looked beautiful, but it was as if she had just suffered violence. Charlotte didn't notice Liang Xiao behind him. He waited anxiously for Amanda or Pu Taiyong's voice to appear on the satellite phone. $30 million in advance wasn't a small amount, but he didn't care. He definitely wasn't listening to Amanda and Pu Taiyong for money. He was really worried about their safety. A minute later, Amanda's voice came from the satellite phone. "Boss, it's me." Her voice was weak, and her mouth seemed to be injured. Her words were unclear. Charlotte let out a sigh of relief. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. I'm happy working with you. Really, that was the happiest time of my life." Amanda's voice. "Don't worry, I'll get you out." "No, don't trust her. She's a woman without credibility," Amanda said. Then, the sound of someone being kicked came from the satellite phone. There was also the sound of someone hitting the wall and falling to the ground. Although Charlotte couldn't see, he knew that someone had beaten Amanda. He gritted his teeth in hatred, but he couldn't help Amanda. Pu Taiyong's voice came from the satellite phone again. "Boss, cough, don't worry about us. We're ready. Don't think too much. I'll definitely get you back. Trust me." "Don't you understand? She won't." Slap. It was the sound of a slap on someone's face. "Boss, if I die, remember to burn a Lamborghini for me, okay? Come back, I'll give you a real Lamborghini." "Ha ha. You're so nice, really. Working with you is the happiest thing for me. Don't give up." Charlotte roared into the satellite phone. Yamosa's voice came from the satellite phone. "I've fulfilled your request. You'll receive my account number soon. I want to see the money transferred into my account in 10 minutes. Charlotte gritted his teeth. "You'll receive the money, but if you dare hurt them, I'll cut you up and feed you to the dogs." However, Yamosa had already hung up. A few seconds later, the satellite phone received Yamosa's account number. Chapter 769. Charlotte gave Guan Lingshan the account number that Yamasha had given him and asked her to transfer $30 million. 5 minutes later, Guan Lingshan replied to him that she had completed the transfer. Xia Lei transferred the money according to the agreement, but he still couldn't relax. It felt like there was a heavy stone pressing on his heart. Amanda and Pu Taiyong both told him that Yamasha couldn't be trusted. He also knew that a heartless woman like Yamasha wasn't worth trusting at all, but he had no choice. Even if the $30 million were thrown into the water, he was willing to throw it away just to give Amanda and Pu Taiyong a chance to live. Could Amanda and Pu Taiyong come back alive? In fact, he didn't have any confidence at all. Liang Xiao walked over and asked softly, "What happened?" Only then did Charlotte come back to his senses. He sighed softly and said, "Xiao, don't ask. Don't you trust me? What are you talking about?" He was a little annoyed. "I betrayed you once, but I won't betray you again." Charlotte said, "Xiao, it's not about betrayal. If I didn't trust you, would I still help you come back? Would I still drink with you?" He didn't even tell Long Bing and Tang Yuyan about the secret of the Zodiac team. He didn't want Liang Xiao to know either. "Okay, then I'll tell you a secret." Charlotte shook his head and said, "Xiao, why do you—" "I'm a pig," Liang Xiao suddenly said. Charlotte was stunned. "What did you say?" "I'm a pig," Liang Xiao said again. Charlotte looked at Liang Xiao. His eyes were completely different from before. When Liang Xiao first called her a pig, he didn't think in any other direction. Maybe when Liang Xiao called her a pig the second time, he felt different. He also thought of the Zodiac team and the identity of the pig that he had always wanted to know. "What do you mean?" he asked tentatively. "I'm a pig," Liang Xiao repeated. "Don't joke around." Charlotte's expression was very serious. Liang Xiao suddenly hugged him. "Do you think I came back to China to serve my country? Or did he return to China because he had nowhere else to go?" Her body was very soft, but Charlotte's was very stiff. Liang Xiao whispered in his ear, "You're wrong. I came back to China for you. When I was still in the CIA, I had contact with your father. He told me, you're not safe in the country. Not everyone in Division 101 is your friend. You need a spy in Division 101 who can help you at a critical moment." "That's right. You're not safe in the country. I know this is a chance for me to redeem myself, as I promised your father. I returned to China and joined the 101 innings. I am that insider. I replaced the position of the Russian woman that I killed before, which is the position of the pig. I know about the existence of the Zodiac team, and I also know how important it is to you. This was the reason why she betrayed the CIA and returned to join the 101 innings. But he knew that it was not a simple matter of jumping from one company to another, because if she was found out, she would face the most severe death penalty. On the other hand, the CIA would issue a global kill order for her. CIA agents and killers would kill her at any opportunity. She said that this was her redemption, but she was using her life to redeem herself. He finally understood the definition of pig in the Zodiac team. People raised pigs only to fatten them up and then kill them for meat. It was the case for Evgenia in the past, and it was the same for Liang Xiao now. The Zodiac team needed a role that could be sacrificed, and the pig was that role. His heart completely softened. The grudges of the past, the hurdles that couldn't be crossed, had all disappeared. Do you understand now? Liang Xiao's voice was slightly choked with sobs. For you, I can sacrifice myself at any time. I am willing to die for you. I can give you anything, including my life. But you won't even give me a chance to come back to you? Why did you only tell me now? If I told you that I went to the 101 innings to work undercover for you, would you let me go? If she had told him all this in advance, he definitely would not have let her go. My father is too much. How could he let you do such a dangerous thing? Do you know that if you were found out, you would be shot? As long as it's for your own good, I am willing to do anything. Don't blame your father. At that time, he had not been pardoned. He was also wanted by the 101 innings. He also needed a spy who could provide him with information. Don't work in the 101 innings anymore. Quit tomorrow and come to my company to do something else. Charlotte said. No, you have made too many enemies. Sure, Boren is also approaching the age of retirement. Once he retires, can you guarantee that the new director will be on your side? I know you want to say that Tang Yuyan will become the new director, but there is no absolute thing in the struggle for power. Isn't Ling Hao and Fan Fan from the ZN Bureau an example? They were all optimistic about Ling Hao, but in the end it was Fan Fan who took over. In addition, the Tang family's political ambition has never been small. If they had a better choice, Tang Yuyan would not have become the director of the 101 innings. You can't control these things at all. Once the 101 innings is no longer your safe haven, my value will be reflected. Xiao, why don't you understand? No, I understand everything. The one who doesn't understand is you. Do you know the story of the crime of possessing a jade ring? The secret you have is your biggest threat. You need me to stay in the 101 innings. I have already decided. Don't try to persuade me. Don't tell your father either. He doesn't want you to know my identity. Charlotte nodded silently. Have you forgiven me? Liang Xiao looked at Charlotte expectantly. She looked a little nervous. Charlotte suddenly kissed her lips. This kiss was his answer. It was more convincing than any words. In the passionate kiss, the things she had done in the past also appeared in his mind. In Seoul, Korea, she risked exposure to save him. In Jerusalem, she deliberately diverted the soldiers away, and she had actually been trying to make up for the mistakes she had made. Now, she was using her life as a wager, walking on the razor-sharp path of self-redemption. In the face of such a woman, such feelings, such love, if he could still harden his heart and push her away, not even giving her a chance, then he did not deserve her love. Give it to me. Liang Xiao grabbed his belt. Her hands were trembling, and so was her voice. I've almost forgotten how it feels when you touch me. This sentence was like a shot of chicken blood into Charlotte's blood vessels. He could no longer control his exploding emotions and desires. He picked her up and strode to the dining room, because it was the closest, because the dining table was empty. because the stockings were torn, because the cotton fabric was crooked. The quiet night was no longer quiet. The closed doors and windows could not block out the sounds coming from the dining table, as well as senior sister's ravings. Those strange sounds soon resonated with the autumn insects. The frogs in the pond and the crickets in the grass also made cheerful sound. However, it was unknown whether they were imitating senior sister or protesting against her. After a long time, the dining room returned to peace. Liang Xiao quietly nestled in Charlotte's arms. She was so lazy that she did not want to do or say anything. Her heart was filled with happiness and joy. It felt really good to be back on good terms with the man she loved. Xiao, I still don't want you to stay in 101 innings anymore. You should resign. I'm serious. Charlotte stroked her black hair. His heart was full of worry. Don't talk, okay? I want to lie quietly in your arms. I want to lie like this until my hair turns white and my teeth fall out. Liang Xiao's voice was soft and powerless. Charlotte was no longer the Charlotte of the past. If the Charlotte of the past was compared to the national football team of China, then the current Charlotte was obviously the Barcelona of the universe. Why was that? It was not that she did not want to know. She was just too embarrassed to ask. Charlotte secretly said in his heart, I'll find a chance to persuade her another day. It's too dangerous for her to do this. If anything happens to her, how am I going to explain it to Master? I'm hungry. Liang Xiao looked at Charlotte with watery eyes. Charlotte said, I'll go to the fridge to see if there's anything to eat. I'll get some for you. I don't want anything in the fridge. It's cold. I want something hot. I'll get it myself, okay? Charlotte was speechless. Do. The satellite phone in his pocket suddenly rang again. Charlotte hurriedly jumped off the dining table. He took out the satellite phone from his pocket and answered the call. Liang Xiao pursed her lips with her tongue and looked at Charlotte quietly. Yamosa's voice came from the satellite phone. Charlotte, I've received your ransom. You're very punctual. Don't talk nonsense. You've already received the money. Bring them to Peshawar tomorrow. Your people will receive the remaining $20 million. I promise you that there won't be any trouble with this transaction. I just want my people back. Charlotte wanted to tear Yamosa's body into pieces, but his tone was full of sincerity. He paid the ransom and humbled himself just to save Amanda and Pu Taiyong. Hee. Yamosa laughed. Her laughter seemed very strange. Charlotte suddenly had a premonition. His heart sank. Charlotte, what do you want me to say about you? You're the strongest opponent I've ever met, but you're also the most naive opponent I've ever met. I've already received $30 million. Why would I still want to deal with you? You'd better not do anything. Killing them won't do you any good. Why won't I? If I kill them now, I'll have 2 less powerful opponents to deal with in the future. How dare you? Charlotte roared. It feels good to anger you. I'm ready. I'll send you a picture later. If you want revenge, you're welcome to come. I'm in the training camp in Siberia. Charlotte bit his lip, and a trace of blood flowed out from between his teeth. Yamosa's angry roar suddenly came from the satellite phone. You shouldn't have killed Gu Qian. Do you know how much she's worth to me? You bastard. You killed Gu Qian, and you still expect to take your people from me. I'll send them to hell right now. Bang bang. 2 gunshots. The satellite phone went silent. 2 tears flowed from Charlotte's eyes. The satellite phone quickly received a picture. Amanda and Pu Taiyong had left. Even more cruelly, Yamosa had not only used a gun, but she had also cut off Amanda and Pu Taiyong's heads. The blood that flowed out from the 2 took up almost 1/3 of the entire picture. My photography skills are good, right? Yamosa's voice came again. Charlotte took a deep breath, and his voice was like a knife. I'll cut you up bit by bit and feed you to the dogs. I'll also find the headquarters of the FA organization. I'm going to pee there. Yamosa hung up the phone. Charlotte stood there, motionless, as if he had lost his soul. Liang Xiao wanted to comfort him, but she didn't know what to say. Any words at this time seemed weak and powerless. Charlotte suddenly said, Xiao, help me find the contact information of the Knights Hospitaller. Liang Xiao was stunned for a moment. You mean the Knights of Malta, right? It's the same thing. Why are you looking for the Knights Hospitaller? Revenge. Charlotte spat out these two words through his teeth. Chapter 770. It was quiet in the basement. Charlotte looked at the piece of silver metal that he had brought back from the labyrinth in a daze. Da Vinci said that it was part of the Angel's Sword. The Knights Hospitaller called it the God's Medal, and wanted it at all costs. Da Vinci could not figure it out in his lifetime, and the Knights Hospitaller also paid a heavy price for it, but they still could not get it. This was the story of the silver medal. In his opinion, its mystery was second only to the ancient alloy. If it was part of a sword that fell off, then where is the rest of it? Could it be in the hands of the Knights Hospitaller? If they get this piece, will they be able to piece together a complete sword? Charlotte guessed in his heart. In an instant, his left eye twitched slightly, awakening the ability of X-ray vision. This was the first time he used X-ray vision on this piece of silver metal since he had obtained it. When he used X-ray vision on the ancient alloy, his vision would fall into darkness. The feeling was as if he was on the verge of death, and it was very uncomfortable. This time, he did not fall into the darkness, nor did he feel a terrible and uncomfortable feeling. His vision was like water soaking into a cotton cloth, slowly seeping into the interior, blending with the silver metal. However, there was nothing special about the silver metal. He felt as if he was looking through an ordinary piece of metal, such as silver or aluminum. The molecular density was not very high, even less than that of titanium alloy. Strange, it can easily leave scratches on the metal, but it isn't scathed. It was very light, but it had such strength. Although I had tested its strength, it was obviously stronger than titanium alloy, but it gave me the feeling that it was so ordinary. Am I overestimating it, or is there another reason? Charlotte was confused. Subsequently, he awakened the microvision ability of his left eye while maintaining the state of X-ray vision, and it continued to improve. When the microvision ability reached a very high level, the scene in his left eye suddenly changed. He suddenly seemed to have entered a starry sky. In this starry sky, there were countless stars, one next to the other, each shining brightly. Suddenly, the starry sky painting he saw in the labyrinth appeared in his mind. The painting was painted using minerals. After Zhu Xuanyue's resurrection, the minerals had all disappeared, leaving only a canvas. At that time, when he saw the painting, the minerals seemed to be rotating slowly, like a nebula that wrapped around the stars. Inside the silver metal, the sparkling minerals were still. What exactly are these minerals? Charlotte was shocked. Ding-ling-ling, ding-ling-ling. The sudden ringing of his phone interrupted his thoughts, as well as his ability to see through the silver metal. The call was from Liang Xiao. I've found what you asked me to find out. Yes, tell me. I'm outside your villa, Liang Xiao said. Okay, I'll be right out. Charlotte hung up the phone. He thought for a moment, then picked up the silver medal, put it in his pocket, and left the underground laboratory. Walking out of the villa, Charlotte saw Liang Xiao standing under a purple gold tree. She was wearing a gray sweater and a pair of tight jeans. Under the loose sweater, there were two mountains rising from the ground, which was very spectacular. The tight-fitting jeans perfectly outlined the curves of her peerlessly beautiful legs, matched with the full curves of her perky buttock. It was simple, but it was very attractive. Last night, she was nourished by love, and her complexion was very good. As soon as Charlotte came out, a smile appeared on her face, and her dark eyes couldn't hide the joy and excitement. She was so happy to see him. If he gave her a hug and a sweet kiss, she didn't know how happy she would be. Charlotte walked over and whispered, "Why did you come in person? Just send me a text message or email." Liang Xiao said, "Ordinary phone calls are not safe, and emails will also leave traces. It's safer for me to come in person." The real reason was that she wanted to see Charlotte. She felt like a girl who was in love for the first time. Her heart was itchy and empty when she didn't see her sweetheart for a day. But she wouldn't tell Charlotte this reason. "Well, it's good to be careful." Charlotte didn't think too much about it. He led Liang Xiao forward. After they were far away from the villa, Liang Xiao said, "I found the official phone number of the Palace of Malta in Rome, but I know that's obviously not what you want. I found the private phone number of the Archbishop of the Knights Hospitaller, Walton." "Go ahead." Liang Xiao gave him a phone number and then said, "I really don't understand why you want to find the Knights Hospitaller. This medieval order of knights actually exists in name only." Charlotte said, "You're wrong. The Knights Hospitaller have their own armed forces, and they're extraordinarily powerful." Liang Xiao suddenly understood something. "Are you looking for the Knights Hospitaller because you want to hire their armed forces? You want to hire mercenaries for revenge?" Her senior sister was indeed her senior sister. She was a senior intelligence officer in the CIA, and she had a strong ability in intelligence analysis. She saw through Charlotte's thoughts in an instant. The photos of Amanda and Pu Taiyong being killed appeared in Charlotte's mind. Liang Xiao took Charlotte's hand and said worriedly, "I know you're feeling bad now, but you have to calm down. The Knights Hospitaller is even a country from a certain point of view, and it's a religious organization. They have very strong beliefs, and they can't be bought with money." Charlotte said, "I have my ways. You don't have to worry about this." Liang Xiao rolled her eyes at Charlotte. "We've already made up." "Are you still treating me as an outsider? I don't want you to get involved. It's not good for you to get involved. I know you care about me and don't want me to get involved in trouble and danger, but I'm your woman. If you're in trouble, I want to share it with you." Charlotte pretended to frown. Must a woman get involved in a man's business? Okay. I won't care, okay? Male chauvinism. Charlotte reached out and slapped her butt. It was also at this moment that the little bit of dissatisfaction in Liang Xiao's heart was suddenly patted away. In the ripples, her heart softened and so did her legs. She didn't know where the courage came from, but she suddenly hooked her arms around Charlotte's neck and gave him a fragrant kiss. They were really seen by several workers passing by. "Holy crap, Director Xia got another one? Her legs are so beautiful." "Don't talk nonsense. Do you know who she is, kid?" "Who is she?" "Of course you don't know. Let me tell you, kid, she's Director Xia's first girlfriend, Liang Xiao. She's a master of Wing Chun Kung Fu. She can beat 50 people like you. Isn't it too exaggerated to beat 50 people by herself? But her legs are really beautiful." "Why did she break up with Director Xia?" "I don't know, but who can leave our Director Xia? She still has to come back even after breaking up." "So, when will Queen Shintu come back?" "How would I know? You can ask Director Xia if you have the gut. Get to work. You guys don't have to think about it." The workers walked away, talking and laughing. Liang Xiao was also satisfied. She let go of Charlotte and said with a smile, "Aren't you afraid that they'll see?" Charlotte shrugged. "So what if they see? I don't care what they think of me." "Do you?" "I don't care. Well, men do things, women. Well, women also go to work." Liang Xiao smiled and turned to leave. Charlotte watched her leave. He was not in a hurry to call the Walton. Instead, he went to the materials laboratory inside the Thunder Horse Army factory. The materials laboratory was of very important existence. The materials purchased for making weapons needed to be tested by the laboratory before they could enter the production area. In addition, it also conducted research on some new materials to support the materials science of the Thunder Horse Army Factory. Not only were there ordinary staff in this laboratory, but there were also high-paid materials scientists. As soon as Charlotte arrived, he said to the person in charge of the materials laboratory, a materials scientist named Eugene Lee, "Take a look at this metal. Is there any way to cut it a little and analyze it?" He took out the piece of silver metal and handed it over to Li Yuden. Eugene Lee looked at it with a face full of surprise and curiosity. "Director Xia, what kind of metal is this? I've never seen it before. It's so special." "Don't worry about that. Just answer my question," Charlotte said. "We just came back with a high-precision laser cutter. It should be able to cut it. But, Director Xia, how much do you want to cut off?" Eugene Lee was obviously not sure about Charlotte's little bit. Charlotte said, "The smaller the better. It's best if no one can tell that it has been cut. Do you understand what I mean?" Eugene Lee nodded. "Yes, I understand. I'll do it right away. How long do you need?" "It'll be done soon, but I can't be sure about the analysis," Eugene Lee said. "Go, I'll wait for you here," Charlotte said. After Eugene Lee left, Charlotte sat in front of Eugene Lee's desk. Then, he took out his cell phone and dialed the number Liang Xiao had given him. The phone rang for about 50 seconds before someone answered. A man said in Italian, "Who are you? Who gave you this number?" The number Liang Xiao had provided was obviously a private number that was not public. It was not strange for the other party to ask such a question when he saw an unknown number. Charlotte said in Italian, "I'm Charlotte." The man on the other end of the phone was silent for at least 30 seconds before he said, "It's you, the thief from China." "Thief? If you talk to me like that again, we won't be in contact anymore. What you want will never appear in front of you," Charlotte said. "Isn't what you did the behavior of a thief? That's our sacred object. It's very important to us. You shouldn't steal it. How about this? I'll give you $1 million, and you return it to us. In addition, I can make an exception and grant you the title of a knight, making you a noble." $1 million? Ha ha. Charlotte sneered and said, "How about this? I'll give you $1 million, and you apologize to me? Do you know who I am?" The voice on the other end of the phone was angry. "Archbishop Walton, the leader of the Knights Hospitaller. You may have secret armed knights with knights, commanders, but I want to tell you that I don't care at all. If you don't respect me, I won't respect you. I'm not calling to pray to you. I'm calling to make a deal with you." Walton was silent for a moment. "What do you mean by a deal?" "God's metal. I can give it to you and let your sacred object return." What do you want from us?" Walton's voice was trembling with excitement. "Send someone in charge to talk to me. You can come in person." "What do you want?" Walton asked. "Goodbye." Charlotte hung up the phone. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.